Okay, wait for it to work. We're gonna add you. Sorry guys, I'm trying to wait for it to load and trying to add her on. It's been acting kind of weird. It's not. Let's see. Alright. Hopefully this works. I was going to do a test, but you know what? It's fine. I'm going to wait for Sabine to get on, and then we're going to talk to her about her son. I've never had a problem with Facebook before, so this is kind of stupid. Alright. Which does make sense, because I had my phone off charging, so I don't know why that would do that. But anyway, we'll see how it works. Just start over. I mean, we deleted the other two. So platform is we're trying to get the angel parents on. Doesn't matter if they're a woman, a man. We're going to start getting the truth out there. They've been victimized by the system. They've been allowed to share a little bit of their story, but they haven't been allowed to give all the truth. And the truth is, we need to have the wall. We need to make sure that we have protections centered around our kids. We need to vet people, get rid of chain migration, all this other crap that we deal with on a daily basis. And I think the best way is to get these people's story out there because their kids weren't protected. I want my daughter to be protected and my son to be protected. Gabe, he's got kids. Ira and all these guys, the ones that do, hey, Gabe, if you can share the video on the conservative page for me, I would appreciate it. I forgot the other phone that I have. I usually have it here so I can look at this up. But it's just nuts. We have a system that's crumbling and falling apart. It's because we don't have the people, and she's invited, so hopefully she'll see it. I'm going to... I'm just going to go until we get on. I wonder if I have anybody on here that's not camera chat, so I can do a test real quick. There you are. See if you can jump on. I'm like, Phil, I'm on cars and the camera went off. I got you. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. You rock. Your videos rock. Here we go. Let's see. Bink. Let's go on. Let's go on. Adding for some aliens. It's connecting. It's connecting. Right. How are you doing?
Yay! We did it.
I almost passed out. I'm just kidding. I was looking at the camera like, come on, man. And I've actually met you before, but it was a long time ago, so I'm just trying to reconnect with all these people.
Where did we meet? Where did you want? I put in my earphone.
Well, I went to a couple of those rallies they had in California before the elections, and that's because we went and did Disneyland and all that other stuff. But it was a quick one too. I'm usually a very shy person. I sound like a talk. Well, okay, I am a talk guy. But, you know what I mean? I'm usually trying to be shy. So here's how I want to start this. Because I am not 60 Minutes, nor am I fake news. It's funny, your little background looks like how I used to do mine. You got the flags in the background. You got a mic on?
I did mine. I'm trying to set it so it's even straighter, but we're good. Can you?
What's that other flag that you? What's that other flag you have up there? That's a pretty cool flag. What is that?
It's the German flag.
You know how I knew that? I actually grew up in Germany in the military with my parents. So when I was looking at that, I said, oh, there you go. Frankfurt, we lived in Frankfurt, Germany.
That's right. My hometown is Nuremberg.
You know what? And I'm just guessing. Hold on. The beer was good, right? Let's just be honest. Was it good beer?
Yeah. Okay,
I don't really drink. I'm a water guy, but
No, I'm gonna disappoint you now. I don't like beer. I'm one of those fake Germans.
I used to drink beer, and then what happened was I found Jesus. I just gotta be honest. No, I had a feel sorry for me moment, and I was like, man, Blue Moon sounds good. But then I had my buddies looking at me like, real men don't drink Blue Moon. Who puts fruit in their beer? And I was going, and I was like, oh man, sorry guys, didn't mean to make you mad. So
Well,
here's how I want to get. Here's how I want to
okay,
get started.
go
I want to
ahead.
start off learning about your son first. Let's talk about him. What a good person he was, because I have a feeling, just like Agnes's story, that it was more than just a story, right?
It always
Now
is.
I'm gonna give you the floor.
Okay. Well, you have about 2 days for me to talk about my son? No.
I
So,
have until the battery turns off because somebody yelled at me and said I was doing videos too long. And I said, I used to keep videos at 30 minutes,
yeah.
but that's not enough time because if I lost my daughter, I would probably, and I can't even imagine, so I apologize the way that came out.
No,
I would
don't.
be going on and on and on and on. There's nothing wrong with that. So you take as much time as you need. I'm not gonna turn into the Billy Grahams of the world and sit here and preach. No, I was
No.
looking up some of the backstory. I'm so sorry about what happened.
Thank you. Um, I'm wearing his sweatshirt right now. He was a volunteer firefighter, so I'm wearing his sweatshirt. I'm wearing his ashes in a little locket around my neck, and behind me, right there, are his ashes as well. So
And I
I want
see some pictures there. Can we get a picture? Can we see what he looks like closer on the camera?
yep. So
Looks like he was a happy person. Looked
he
like he was
was.
full of
Now
laughs.
this box here, this this is the urn I keep him in. He's always with me. Those are his ashes. And all these bracelets back there that you
Uh-huh.
see right there, are
Yep,
all,
I can see him.
yep, it's from the angel moms and angel dads that had their children memorialized with bracelets. I have a green one that I always wear. But yeah, let me introduce you to Dominic. Um,
I have a son named Dominic, so that's cool. We can connect on that. Right on.
Absolutely. Dominic was, well, first of all, I gotta go way back. I wasn't even supposed to get pregnant. Everybody said it wouldn't happen. So he became my little miracle baby. And him and I connected during my pregnancy, and I'm getting emotional now because
It's okay. Happy tears are good. Cry. I cry all. Okay, I admit it. I cry too. No.
it was just, I was so excited having him. And from the day he was born until the day he died, he created so much joy. Not just for me, but so many people call themselves his best friend. And I would hear that. Well, I was his best friend. Yeah, well, I was his best friend. So when he was born, he started laughing and joking and just always a happy baby. And he was born in Germany, in the same hospital I was born in. I was married to his dad, who was in the military. We were married. And when Dominic started kindergarten, the kids looked at him and always wondered about his color. And I said, well, he drinks a lot of chocolate milk. And so a lot of those kids went home.
I'm still white. I drink tons of chocolate
I
milk. It doesn't
know,
work.
it didn't work.
I'm Hispanic. I eat beans like there's no tomorrow. I'm still white. That's crazy.
So, the kids went home and started drinking chocolate milk. The parents told me, and they always looked at their skin, and then they would touch his hair because it was curly. And because in that German town, it wasn't that many mixed children. And he would always, and I noticed back then he was a little different. He would sit with a child that no other kid would sit with. He would have lunch.
He had a big heart, sounds like.
Yes, he did. He did. So he carried that on to school. And then, well, we finally got transferred to the States since my ex was in the military, and we got stationed in Barstow, California, which is like the armpit
Been
of,
there, Barstow. It's hotter than heck. Oh yeah.
well, yeah. And then my idea of California was the beach, Hollywood, Beverly Hills. Well, that was quite
You
the
saw a
drive
hill and
from
was like,
LA.
you saw a hill and you were like, where the hell am I? I want to go
Well,
back to Germany.
because we drove towards Victorville, and I saw the lights in the desert. It
In
was
there,
naked.
yep.
And I'm thinking, oh, we're finally there. We made it. And he said, no. So we kept going, and I didn't see any more lights. It was like we were just driving into the dark. And then the next day when I woke up and I looked around, we were in a hotel room. I cried. I wanted to go. I wanted to leave. But it turned out to be a blessing because I got
I still cry where I live, and I still want to leave. So I'm with you. I sit here and I look outside, and where the hell am I? And there's crazy people all around me. Oh, no, hold on. I'm not going to cut you off. I want to make you laugh. I want to make you laugh. I am so dumb. I am so dumb. When I moved to Farmington, New Mexico, I thought I was going to see like Native Americans in the headdress with the leather chap. And then I was like, wait a minute, they're just like me. That's how stupid I was because I was from the city. And, I lived 8 hours away and I'd never been to Farmington. So I got a weird wake up call and I apologize.
Yeah,
so I'm with you on that.
Well, but for us, it was great because it was an easy transition from living in Germany for his first 10 years to California, America. And we were stationed in Fort Irving. We were on the base. So it felt safe. It felt good. And I got slowly into the American way of life. And then fast forward, my ex left the military and we moved to Moreno Valley, which is Southern California next to Riverside. And we bought
I actually played music there, so I know what it looks like. So, yeah.
Wow, get out.
Yep.
See how smart
I had some terrible times, and I'll be brutally honest so people can laugh, playing drums in a strip club that I did not want to be at. Those people looked like they were in a bad mood dancing. I was like, this isn't what I remember people talking about. It was a very bad experience. I lived it down.
Well, I'm glad you're not doing that anymore. And I didn't work there.
No, I go to church.
I didn't work in the club you played drums. I did not.
I'm throwing holy water everywhere. I'm just splash it. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing around. You gotta laugh.
So, Dominic was 10 years old when we arrived in California, and then we started looking around for a nice place to live. So Moreno Valley was our pick. I started working at they had an Air Force base, active Air Force base at that time. And I worked for Elizabeth Arden Cosmetics. I was 5 miles from home. He went to school, had a great time. And again, he made friends so easily and of all races. It didn't matter to him. And he started interest in broadcasting. So he became a volunteer and intern for the Moreno Valley TV station, Moreno Valley TV3. And
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and he learned how to produce and edit, and he became an award-winning editor. Had lots of fun, did a lot of live feeds and just good stuff, and met the most amazing people. And one of them became his mentor, was Jared Adams, who is our best friend. They just were close, and he took Dominic under his wings. Well, Dominic's dad and I, we were going through bad times, divorce and all that. So Dominic,
you're like, and put that to rest. We'll just skip that part of the story. I'm happy now. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm going to lose about 250 pounds pretty soon. Let's get him out of here.
All right.
So that was, it was.
Man, I'll tell you what. I gained weight eating pasta and chili, so I need to calm down. But go ahead. Just kidding around. We had a baby.
Oh well, that packs on, Pop. But it's worth it, isn't it? Every pound.
Oh.
The joy.
She threw a remote in the kitchen sink today, and I just kissed her up.
I watched it, and I started laughing so hard because I can remember those times.
I've never danced so many times to Anastasia in my life. I dance 3 times a day with my daughter, I'm proud to admit.
Oh, but yes, that's what you do. And you know, those memories gonna stick with her. You will be the model for her future husband because she's always gonna want to marry daddy.
I just want to put it out there. She does not like chewing on the bubble gum off Paul Blart. She has a crush on Kevin James. I have no idea why. She's a year and 7 months old.
Wow,
I
what happened?
don't know. You turn on the movie and she's like this. She has her little bob on. She's like, "Oh,
Oh,
go Kevin, go
it's
Kevin."
voice or something, huh? Well,
I hope it's not. I hope she doesn't have a thing for fat guys because of Dad. I'm just kidding.
well, so Dominic decided to become. He was into planes and aviation. He had a little set at home with his. He had a whole team doing the flight simulators at home. So that was his passion. And his passion was to help. He was into his community, and he was with emergency response force. So when they had anything, he was out there helping. When they had fires, he went bring water to the firefighters, and so it was always in him. And so he decided to become a 911 dispatcher for the sheriff's department in Riverside. And his goal was to become a motorcycle cop and then to end his career as a helicopter pilot for the police department. So while he was doing the 911 dispatcher, working 12 to 14 hours a day, he still had time to volunteer for the local fire department. And that's where I got his sweatshirt. He still had time to hang out with his friends, to help him, to be with them. He still had time for me. We both had motorcycles, so we would ride and enjoy that.
Oh, good for
Yeah,
you.
we both
Good
had
for
big
you.
motorcycles, and
I'm a fraidy cat. I was told that if I get a motorcycle, my wife's divorcing me, so I'm gonna get one on the low. No, I'm just kidding.
no, it he started it first, and then he grabbed me and he said, "Well, you need to get your license." And I said, "Nah, I don't like taking tests." He said, "Okay, cool, let's go for lunch." And he took me to a neighboring town, Little to the DMV, dropped me off, pushed me out the car, and said, "Go get your test done, and I'll pick you up in a half an hour." Like, whoa! And I passed. It was just me stopping myself. Um, so in 2005, Dominic's dad and I finally divorced. He finally left the house, and Dominic and I stayed in the house. He wanted to move out at first, and then he said, "No, we're just gonna be a housemates." So we shared the bills, we shared responsibilities, and now it changed
That's
from
not my girlfriend. That's my mom. Have some respect.
that.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, he had
Right.
incidents with that when he flew me some. We flew to Big Bear, and he turned in the key to his plane instead of valet parking a car. He valet parked the plane. It was hilarious.
That's funny.
And I went to the restroom, and as I came out, he stood there with a kind of a weird look on his face, and he said, "Yeah, Mom, the guy just told me, yeah, your wife just went in the restroom," and he went like, "Ugh." So we had fun with that. We, in those 10 years that he and I lived together in a house, we really spent quality time together, and we went to Germany together just to visit the family because I was born in
He was your
Germany.
baby. He was your best friend. He was your buddy.
That was absolutely it. And of course, my only one, so he was my favorite one. And
Hey, don't say
we
that too loud. We get in trouble around here. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking around.
went to Germany. We went to Disney World, and we just or went to lunch or just hung out, went to the movies a lot. We always had a lot of fun time with each other, but we allowed each other to have our separate lives. And I started dating after being divorced, and he never liked anybody. He was like this hovering Mother Hubbard over me, and he ain't good,
Hey,
he's not good, and
do you drink? I'm just kidding.
so he was very protective, and he just At first, I thought it was because he
Yeah,
just
you can
wanted,
get what you need done.
but it was his being protective over mom. And um, so finally, I met the man I'm engaged to now, Anthony Coulter. Met him,
Congratulations.
thank you. Well, it
Is
was
this Anthony? Is Anthony Italian? Is that what you're trying to
no,
tell us?
no.
Oh,
He's a chocolate
Eh,
guy as well. I call him
just
chocolate
kidding.
because, well, I gotta share this with you. When Dominic started dating, he figured out a great way to get dates. He said he called himself German chocolate because he was born in Germany and he looks like chocolate. So he would tell girls, he would walk up to them and say, "You like chocolate? Oh, I love chocolate. Do you like German chocolate?" And yeah, what, he said, "You want some?" That was his little pickup line. So
I told my wife, you like a little bit of Irish? She's told me to get lost. She liked tall guys. I'm just kidding around.
We're making a leprechaun trap.
Oh, are you? You're doing the leprechaun trap now?
Yes, guess
Oh,
what Mom's idea was. So first there's gonna be a lovely greenhouse.
See what I mean, kids? I just forget. We're doing a show, Dom. Can I talk to you in about 5 minutes?
It's gonna be
Okay. I love you, buddy.
aw.
He's drinking his apple juice going, you son of a... I'm just kidding. He knows it. You got me started. I was all excited about the stupid leprechaun.
Well, that's what you got to do. Your dad, you got to play along with that. So that's the kind of relationship Dominic and I had from the time he was born until the day he died. We were best of friends. We were confidants. He could trust me with everything, and it didn't matter what it was. He would come home.
Were you still cleaning up his room? Were you still cleaning up his room for him?
I gave up once I gotta say it, once we became housemates. I gave that up. I put a big sign on his door and it said hazmat. Please call hazmat before entering. No, because I figured he needed to. I spoiled him, but he needed to become the man that any woman would be proud of having, or any family would be proud of having.
Good for you.
Because he needed to be self-sufficient, and he didn't like it for a while, and his dishes stacked up in there. And I remember one time he came home from drinking a bit too much with his buddies, and he must have thrown up in his bed because his dog went in there. When I opened the door, I ran away. The dog went in, left, and he said, "Mom, can you help me?" And I said, "Nope, that's your bed and your problem." But it was
I've been told that before.
way,
I'm just kidding.
it was a loving way of teaching him, and he taught me so much. He taught me how to just enjoy every second, because now that I look back, he lived every moment, and he
To the
lived
full.
yeah, he lived 30 years like some of us wouldn't do in 100. And to this day, he's so missed by all the people who met him, even if it was for a moment, because he made them feel like they were the most special people. He never just looked past them or ignored them, or he was true to his word. And he was just an upstanding guy, and he had people laughing. They would call him with their issues, with their problems. He was just a jack of all trades, and for people to
Sounds like he was very humble. He was a very humble kid.
He would never speak about it. And 6 years almost later, and people still celebrate his birthday in January. In California, they have a party for him 6 years later.
Good.
So he taught me so much, and he kept me laughing. He was a big prankster. And I'm going to share this prank with you because it is the absolute best prank ever. He was friends with a lot of cops because he would do ride-alongs and hang out, because that's what he wanted to do, and he was in law enforcement. So he told his cop friends that he's expecting a friend from New Jersey to come out, and the guy always carries cash. He doesn't like credit cards or anything. And he will drive in his truck with his friend Tom to the airport. They rented a plane to go flying. He said, and when I'm halfway down the street, I'm going to be on my phone. You will park on the side with your cruiser. And when you see me on my phone, just come up and stop me and arrest me. Right. So, okay, they were, everything set up. So him and Tom Tim driving down the street. He's getting on his phone. Tom says, get off the phone. That's illegal. You can't do that. He said, ah, they ain't going to find me. And, of course, the sirens do. And they pulled him over, and the cop comes to the window, and he says, sir, let me see your license and registration. So he hands it to him. He keeps his head down. Tom Jim, the cop walks over to the passenger side and says, can I see your ID? And yeah. So he opens his wallet with all the cash in, and the cop says, sir, why are you carrying all that cash? Oh, we're going to go flying. And the cop says, oh, that's what you call it, huh? So Tom now getting a little worried. The other cop comes out of the cruiser, comes over on Dominic's side and tells him he's under arrest. Gets him out of the truck, puts him over the hood in handcuffs, and I mean all serious faces. Tom is now having a panic attack in the truck, doesn't know what's happening. The cop asked him again. He says, so how long have you known this guy? Well, I've known him 5 years. He's my best friend.
That's funny.
Are you sure? Yes, he really. He said, so you said you guys were going to go flying. Is that what you call it? Well, sir, I don't know what you mean. So Tom now shaking and sweating profusely. His shirt is soaking wet. So the cop finally says, well, Mr. Tom, you didn't know that this was the high-priced male prostitute of Moreno Valley. He's known for this. So now the color, the blood leaves Tom's face. He's shaking. He said, no, I've known him for 5 years. I didn't know that. He said, yeah, he's known everywhere. He has the most traffic. He makes the most money around here. So now Dominic is being led in front of the windshield, in front of Tom Jim in handcuffs to another cruiser that came up. And as they walked by the open window where Tom was still shaking and sitting there, the cop looked at Dominic and said, can we let him off the hook now? Are we done here? So they all busted out laughing. It was that joke and that prank spread all over. Tom Jim didn't want to go flying anymore after that. And they came home, and I was sitting in the living room, and I saw him come in shaking and sweating, and I hear Dominic in the garage laughing so loud and so hard.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
He started crawling in the house because he couldn't stand up laughing so hard. So those were just a few of the things. He pranked me many times. We scared each other. I turned water off at the house when he was in the shower.
Yeah.
So I have 30 years of incredible memories of this son of mine that brought joy not just to me and my family, because we went home every year. We went to Germany. My mom came to the States after my dad passed. He still spoke fluent German. So we had this incredible time that was a gift, a true gift to both of us. And then 6 months before his death, I crashed my motorcycle. We were doing a tour together, and I crashed real bad. And I still remember him running towards me with his big eyes and crying, not knowing if I'm dead or alive. And I rolled myself over, and I told him, I said, go see if my bike still works. And then we ride. I don't want to go to the hospital. And he said, sure, Mom, let me start your bike so you can ride home while you bleed out. Let's do that.
Right?
But I still see the fear in his face, and I couldn't move. And so while we were waiting for ambulance, he's sitting there crying. He's telling me, that's my biggest fear, to lose you. And I looked at him and I said, no, my biggest fear is to lose you. And if that would ever happen, they would have I would shoot myself or something. I couldn't carry on. And I
A
listened
mother's love, right?
back.
It's
Yeah,
just nuts. I see it in my wife every day. It's amazing.
we I think every parent that I know would absolutely drop in front of a bullet, step in front of a bullet for their child. They're not supposed to go before us. They're supposed to be here with us.
I'll be
And
honest with you. I would honestly say this, and I mean it. I would step in front of a bullet for somebody else's kid because when you become a parent, you feel for
yeah,
those other parents. That's why I'm
yeah,
so mad with that whole Parkland shooting thing. It's just
yeah,
nuts. But go ahead.
absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but that's what you do as a parent. It's in you once you have a baby, and you watch them grow, and you make sure that their little knee when they scuffed it is sanitized, and they don't have. You just keep worrying about them getting sick and all that. So that day was so profound because I told him, I said, if something ever happened to you, you could shoot me. I wouldn't be good for anything. And then 6 months later, it happened to him. And
I'm so sorry about that too.
thanks. Yeah, it's
I know personally from losing family, and it's a different feeling because it's you're his mom.
yeah, it is.
But I know the metamorphosis you go through from being a mother, just from seeing my mom or my grandmother who went through it. It's
Yeah.
a very life-changing thing.
And the thing
And I'm
is that
sorry.
there is a word for a widower and widow and orphan. There's not a word for a mom who lost a
There
child.
is.
That's why the term angel mom.
There is.
Yeah.
There is. It's an angel, and that's what you guys have been doing.
Matter of fact, I have a tattoo on my arm. It's a broken heart with angel wings, and um, it is from a sticker that one of Dominic's friends gave me the day after he was killed. It's on my car right now. It says, "I'm an angel mom." So for me, it started in July 13th, 2012, to be an angel
So
mom.
let's real quick, because I want to get this story out there because I think you guys have been left behind. And even though you see 14, 15 people, there's more people watching than that. We know how Facebook works than Zuckerberg. Take us to what happened, because I think just like Agnes, you're probably still investigating. You're still trying to get stuff done. No?
No, I stopped. I could have found out more about the killer. It was enough. What I know is enough for me. It doesn't change
Okay.
anything. So I'll share with you. On July 11th, 2012, Dominic took my fiance Anthony and myself. We were on the way to Atlanta. So he took us to the Ontario airport. So we're driving in his truck, we're laughing, we're joking, we look forward to being with Anthony's family for a family reunion for a week. And we get to Ontario, and Dominic pulls my bag out, and I get out. Anthony's out waiting for me, and I stumble over the curb, and I fell into Dominic. And he was 6'3". He was a big guy, so he picked me up and swirled me around and gave me one of his famous Dom hugs. Kissed me on the forehead, told me, "I love you, Mom. See you in a week. Have a good time." And I watched him walk to his truck, to the driver's side, and I yelled, "Love you, and watch out. We got cameras at the house. We're going to watch out, see how many parties you have." He said, "Yeah, right. But I see you in a week. I love you." And that was the last time I ever saw my son alive. We get to Atlanta. It was early in the morning. We didn't want to go to Anthony's cousin's house. Didn't want to wake him up. So we went to have breakfast. And right after breakfast, we walk into the rental car. I lost all function in my legs. It was like somebody unplugged me and I dropped. And Anthony ran, picked me up, put me in the car, and he said, "Oh my God, what's wrong?" He said, "Jet lag? We traveled the world before and never anything like it." It was the exact moment my son was killed. So when you talk about the connection we have with our kids, when your child is away from you and something is wrong, it's just in your heart. It's in your soul. They are part of you. So I didn't know what it was, and thank God I didn't. So we went to the cousin's house, and I told them, I said, I can't talk right now. I need to lay down and sleep. I just couldn't keep my eyes open. So I laid down, and I was they had a big house. It was almost like a big mansion with a guest quarters on the bottom. And I laid down and had my phone on quiet, but I heard a beep, constantly beeping. Some alert, somebody sending something. And I just said, oh my Lord. I looked at my phone, and I have one after the other message. Please call me. It's important. Call me. This is Elena, Dominic's best friend. Please call me. So I'm starting to get a little weird feeling. Something wasn't right. And I'm trying to listen to the voicemail, and I couldn't listen to them. And I know it was God who prevented me to hear from somebody else while I'm by myself that my son is dead. So I couldn't listen to it. Now I'm starting to get frantic. I put on some clothes. I ran through a house that I've never been to and went straight to they had a theater room. And Anthony's in there with his cousin watching Jurassic Park, whatever they had on. And he hears the door flying open. He looks at me, and he told me the look on my face was sheer horror. And he grabbed me. He said, what's wrong? I said, something's happened to Dominic. You know, I bet you he broke his leg. That dumbass probably fell off his bike again. And we went, and I called dispatch. And they know me there as Dom's mom. They all came to the house. I would have him over for dinner, or I'll be at parties with him and his friends. And I called, and the young lady that answered, she acted really weird. And I said, this is Sabine. Just let me talk to Dominic. And she says, well, can you please hold on for the for our boss? And I'm like, why? Where's Dominic? Is he in the hospital? Did he break a leg or break his arm or something? Can you please hold on? And then what you see on TV in the movies when you get that call, and the boss said, I am so sorry to have to let you know that Dominic got killed this morning. And all I remember was I screamed a scream unlike anything. It was a sound that never came out of me previously. And Anthony and I dropped in the kitchen to the floor. Now, in the meantime, mind you, the family that was looking forward to meeting me started arriving for the family reunion. So they walk into a house of chaos and pain. Hearing us cry, somebody whispered, her son just got killed and all that. And I hung up the phone. I didn't want to believe it. And I said, nope, I just talked to him last night. I just hugged him. That's baloney. That's bullshit. Somebody, is he playing a prank? No, it's not true. So you go into this complete denial. They called back, and he told me, he said, yeah, he was on his way to work on his motorcycle when a car turned in front of him and killed him. And he said, we know you're in Atlanta, and we need you to come back. His two best friends already did the identification at the morgue, so you don't have to do that. Now, all this is coming at me like, who are they talking about? Who are they? They must have a wrong number. In the meantime, the family is trying to get us on a flight right back to California. And we're finally on a flight. We're sitting in the back, and Anthony told the stewardess that when we land, to please let us get out first because we were way in the back. She said, sure. He told her what happened. And then we were on a 4-hour flight crying for 4 hours. There was no stopping. We had towels, we had water. But still on the way to California, I'm thinking, nah, this is not true. There will be a mistake. They probably thought it was him, and it isn't. And we land, and I walk out, and I'm thinking, I'm going to kill him because he played this stupid prank on me, and this is not, I'm going to kill him. And as we walk towards the exit, I see his 3 best friends standing, waiting for us, and I knew it was true. So I dropped, I passed out. after I came to, I needed to go see where it happened. And it happened 2 miles from the house on a street that I drive by every day. And at first it looked that there were markers everywhere, and I couldn't make sense of it. And nobody talked about illegal, nobody, nothing. To me, it was an accident. Somebody turned in front of his motorcycle and hit him so hard that he threw him into a wall on the sidewalk, broke everything in his neck, and he killed him instantly. Thank God he didn't have to suffer. And
Amen.
yeah, and I'm still grateful for that. He didn't have to look at that face of that son of a bitch that killed him. You know, he died with our last words to each other still in his mind. But so we went home. The house is full of people. This is the most surreal thing because it's like an out-of-body experience.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get yourself together. You wander around, you look around. I went straight to his room, grabbed his pillow and smelled it. I saw his socks laying there, and he was a big slob. And thank God he was, because I saw his socks, his shirts, and empty glass, and I'm still in disbelief. And meantime, there are friends and everybody, the neighbors around, they don't know what to do. Nobody knows what to do, and they were just there. And then people started bringing in food, and finally, I don't know when, I finally went to sleep. The phone ringing off the hook. Anthony and one of our sweet neighbors, she's an angel walking this earth. She took care of everything. And the next day, well, you got to go to the mortuary to visit your child. And I have something, and it's brutal. But people need to realize how this is not just the death of my child, it's the murder of my child. Because
yes, and that's why I'm doing this.
It's the death is if it's an accident and somebody made a mistake, I can deal with that. I made mistakes. I ran through a stop sign. I didn't see it. I could have killed somebody. But this is murder, you know. And this picture is my son in the morgue. His hands, his dead hands with the bruises. And my hand touching him for the last time. And when they wheeled him out, that's when it became real. When I saw his lifeless body, and he looked like he was sleeping, smiling in his sleep. I knew his something happened to his feet because everything was just different. And then when I touched him, it was his cold hands. I kissed him, but the brutal reality was there. And at that point, I still didn't know it was an illegal. Then comes, okay, we have to have a memorial, and we decided on cremation because him and I talked about it. Because I said, well, if something happens to me, what are we going to do? He said, well, I don't want to have a gravesite where I'm stuck and I might want to move. He said, how about cremation? Well, he was smart in that. He said, how about cremation? I put your ashes in one of those hamster balls. That way I can put you in the back of the truck and you just can have fun riding with me.
We're going on a trip.
No, Mom. But I never thought it would be him. But he said, you know, I would want the same thing. I don't want you to be stuck. So I have the large urn, and then I always bring this little one with me. Whenever I go on a TV show or testify, he is with me. I bring him with me. And
I want to make you laugh real quick. I'm going to make you laugh.
Sure.
Just because that's how I operate. Because I like to cry and laugh at the same time.
I hear you. I got you. I'm ready for it.
I was grabbing a remote out of the top drawer.
Right.
Mind you, me and Gina didn't do everything biblical like we were supposed to. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't perfect.
Right.
And there was this box. And I opened the box, and her grandfather was right there. And I thought to myself, this creepy guy has been in my room this whole time. The things that I've done, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I'm not Catholic. I grew up Catholic, but I was like this. In the name of the Father, Son. I was like, oh, man. So I know. We need to get him out more. He needs to go with us to the store and stuff. It's just crazy.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
man.
goes with, well, he's, I mean, always in this little locket. He's always with me anyways. But so we had the right conversation back then. So I knew cremation was the only way to go. And then you got to put that in your head and deal with, then you got to go to the mortuary and talk about finances. And, okay, what urn do you want? What flat? Thank God I was surrounded by the most incredible and supportive people who just held me up, loved on me. I have a German friend. She's still in California, my Connie Lauman. She was right there. They weren't hurting as much as I was, and they walked with me, and they still do. And I share that later, but.
Well, no, it's nuts. It's nuts how there's always that one person where they're as hurt as you are, but for some odd reason, God puts on their heart to be strong so that you can weep. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I
It's just
was
nuts.
so blessed by so many people, and it's even too many to name, but they still around. They still surround me with their love, even though I now live in a different state. It didn't matter, because true friendships the distance don't. But so we are in a mortuary picking out a casket that will be burned up. It will be cremated. And dealing with his father that would take another 2 hours, and I would probably throw a phone somewhere. That was a whole mess.
Trust me, when my Uncle Matt died, we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
This is a message to deadbeat dads. We don't need you.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm being honest, actually.
You know what?
I'm being
You know
honest.
what the message really is? You have a child, and you and the mama are divorced. You gotta love your child more than you hate that ex-wife.
Yes.
You gotta be there for your child, because you don't know if you get a lifetime with them. You don't know. And
And there are some great step parents that step up and step in. I'm one of them. Dominic's not mine. He's got a different dad, but he's just like mine.
Yours, yeah. And so that was the thing right there, is don't waste time. Don't chase after monetary things when you have this amazing child. You know, you lose out and you can't make it up because you don't know what life brings. So my lesson that I learned, and it's the biggest one, live life without regrets. If you don't,
I need to stop regretting all these medical bills. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but if you don't like somebody, you don't have to spend time with them. Don't waste time.
I say that all the time.
On people that are not worth your time. If you like somebody, let them know. If you love somebody, let them know. Find ways. It doesn't have to be in gifts. It's time that we want. I will admit this to you on camera. I will admit this because we will be talking again. I am in Gina's face all the time. I'm kissing her and Enza and even Dominic. I'm obsessed with my family. But those are the things they will remember. Your kids will not remember when you're gone. They won't remember what toy you bought them, but they will remember the moments that you gave them, and true moments, face to face, not watching TV and, you know, that's what they will remember. And that's what keeps me going, those 30 years of the most incredible one-on-one time with that man, with that boy of mine, that keeps going. And that's what, I guess, and God's grace, because my strength, my faith got stronger, not less. Oh, I was angry.
And I want to tap something on that because I do a lot of Bible study, and I mean, on the Facebook, I do a lot on the Facebook. It's not like a hardcore, like, no. But no, on Facebook, I do a lot of the, I think we did James 4:10 last week. I'm a Baptist. I grew up Catholic. I don't care about the non-denom. Cool, whatever. But I like to read my Bible, and I'll tell you this much. There will be a glorified body when Christ comes back.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with you holding your son and taking him everywhere with you. God bless you. You know, I want you to hear this because maybe it will help you know how much love that you had for him and he had for you. The anger that I had for my mom, because she became like a sister to me. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I love my mom, but I ended up having a daughter, and all that anger I was able to flip and turn into loving my daughter, because it's just weird how God works. You know what I mean?
But if we are aware of it and we do some with it, that's the secret right there. Because when I hear people say, "Oh, God will take care of it," well, yeah, but you still have to do your part. And my faith was, I believed in God, and I knew there was somebody higher, but that was about it. In Germany, we have two main religions, Lutheran and Catholic. I came
Yeah.
to the States, you had 50,000 different religions.
Oh, don't forget the alien people. I'm
Well,
just
that
kidding.
too. But then you had people that people I met that would preach about God and then do wrong, or run to church on Sunday, but Monday they would stab you in the back. And I said, I can't deal with that. I don't want to be a part of that.
Well, and on that note, because this goes with what you're talking about, Billy Graham dies, everybody's a Christian, but every single day, if you believe in God, you're the enemy. It's just nuts.
It is. It's so weird. But so I said, okay, I believe in it my way. And Dominic and I shared that. We said we don't have to go to a building to honor God. We do in our heart. But are you leaving me?
No, I'm right here. I just hear Enzo crying, so I'm making a bottle.
Yes, please. Oh, what a sweet daddy. Oh, I'm just gonna watch you and enjoy that.
And I spoil her. We don't use tap water. I'm just kidding.
Well, see, you should live in Arkansas. We have our own well, and I can drink well water. I do drink it every day.
Well, we do the toddler formula. This stuff gets to be expensive. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Dominic! Sorry, this is real live. Come here real quick.
we have. You can feed your baby. It's okay. I can wait.
No, she's just tired. It's all right.
Well,
She's got a nice big brother.
Oh, look.
Do me a favor. Want to take this up for me?
Yeah. She's going crazy.
I know. She wants to be on camera.
Dad, she wants to be with you.
Hold on. Just give her a bottle. She'll be okay.
I did nothing to her.
I know. You're fine. Hold on.
I
Here.
know.
Here, she's just tired.
This is what happened. So she was at the baby gate. She would hold on to it and then start crying. And whenever I'd come back, whenever she'd be looking at me, she would stop. Once I would go back into the room, she'd start crying.
Come here. Give this to her.
This
She's
is
just
a reality show. That's all it is. It's life. It's wonderful.
Try imagine doing that when I used to do like a radio.
That's precious. Oh man.
Well, I'll make you laugh real quick. I used to do everything under my middle name, so everybody'd be like, Eric. Eric doesn't do that. No, it's Matthew, because I was named after my uncle. And so
Okay. All right.
we're back. The commercial break for all those
Yeah,
deadbeat dads out there.
had a
Let's make a
moment.
bottle. I'm just kidding.
Hey, let's get my bottle. Hold on. Let me get my bottle.
Yeah, right.
It's pure well water from Mineral Springs, Arkansas. This is where
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I have been all over the United States, right? And
Right.
I never experienced racism. And I grew up looking white. I'm Hispanic and Italian.
Right. Don't look
And like I look like a straight up white
white.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my grandmother first generation's from Spain on one side, and then on my other side, my grandfather Perfecto was so dark he looked black. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And I always said I was the milkman's baby, but no one believed me. So I went to Alabama, and I was wearing a Denver Broncos hat, and they would not serve me gas. I was like, "What the hell's going on? I look like you guys."
Oh
I
my
had
God.
to take my little Ford Taurus, 96 Ford Taurus, and I was praying the whole way for the next 60 miles I would make it to another gas station.
Oh
Yeah, so
God.
I feel you.
Wow. Uh,
That
well,
was a story
I
nobody believed
I
me
could
on.
talk a bit about racism, but you know what? With Dominic being mixed, he experienced some of it. I experienced some of it, but
It's stupid. We're all human. We're all
it
God's children, even
well,
the ones
yeah,
who don't
some
want to
people
know who
don't
God
think that
is.
way, but I didn't feed into it, and I'm when somebody stared at me, I stared back at him, made him uncomfortable. It was so stupid for me because I knew who I was, who my son was, and that all that mattered. It didn't matter,
Yeah.
period. Where were we?
But see, that's what makes your story unique, and that's why I'm not rushing you to give us on Bob Walters on 60 Minutes. Bob Walters, give us
Yeah,
a 15-second.
Wawa.
Oh man, I used to watch her chuckling when I was in. Okay, I'll just admit it. When I was in college, I smoked weed, and I would literally watch Bob Walters.
It's
And
okay.
I was like, oh man, I'm going to school to be a police officer. Here I am. But, yeah, so
Well, we all did
no,
our stuff when we were younger, and then we grow up and have
right.
families. But no, we
Those were a long time ago. That was a long time ago.
what
Anybody investigating? I'm just
I,
kidding.
my parents always said that when I have kids, they hope that those kids pay me back for everything I did to them. And then I had Dominic, and you know what? He skipped that whole thing. He never did. He did one. He got no. He did one stupid thing, and that was he
You have to
just.
log in and log back. If you get out of the video and get back in, then you can see it. They're saying we're spinning. It's Facebook
Oh, okay,
monetization.
gotcha.
No, not you, not you, not you. The people watching.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right. No, I'm serious. Like I'll watch Dennis. I'll watch Dennis Michael Lynch, and he's like, I'm spinning, and I'm literally seeing the camera go. I
Oh,
log in, I log out, back on. It's like, oh, cool, we're good. Right on. I see my own videos sometimes. I'm like, what the hell was I talking about? Like I got lost. I was in the zone. And I was like, oh
it's a
no.
conversation. It's like we're sitting across from each other, toast on my little mug here with my Dom hug. There you go.
I'll tell you what, I can't lie to you. I almost put ice in my water. I was going to get crazy tonight. I'm just kidding.
God, you're living on the edge.
Oh, man.
I
Telling
have
you.
lots of ice in it. Nothing else, just water. But no, I think we were back at when you lose your child, no matter how, whether it's disease, accident, murder, you will never be the same. It changes you so drastically. And you have three choices. And I learned that real quick. You kill yourself, you pump yourself with drugs or liquor, or you do something about it. And you change that. Oh, I know where we were. And the change for me came with my
Oh, I know where
faith.
you were too. I just trying to let you talk.
About
This
God.
is your video.
It was about God. And I got so angry. I said, "Why? Why did you have to take this guy? He got one ticket in his whole driving life. He was always good. He was volunteer of the year in 2004 of the whole city and loved by so many people. Why him?" I got mad at God. And I had conversations with him when I would go to the spot where my son died. I sat at the spot where he took his last breath. And I still saw the markers, and I saw the whole wall full of notes from people who loved him with flowers and candles. And I talked to God, and I said, "Why you had to do that to me? I don't have no other family. But with time, my faith became so strong that I know why I'm talking, why I'm able to publicly talk. I didn't do that before. I hated it. I would freeze up. You put a microphone in front of my face, I would speak German and forget what I was saying. But so
But you
God,
know what?
yeah,
You know what? The reason why that would happen, and I think this has happened to a lot of you guys, is because you can teach people not to give up.
I think
We have so many people stuck on
yeah,
pharmaceuticals and so many
yeah.
people that are on drugs and alcohol. It is ridiculous what's going on in our nation.
And that's where that third choice comes in. You can do something with it. And never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined that I'm now friends with so many angel moms and dads and angel brothers, angel sisters. And we all bring different things to each other. We sometimes don't even have to talk because we know how the other one feels. But that's, I think, in the big picture, that's God's plan. That whatever hits you in the heart, stabs you in the heart, you have to do something about it. And to give
Oh, you
up
have a
was,
bond.
yeah,
You guys have a bond together with that too.
yeah. And it wasn't a choice for me to not speak up for him. But I have to admit, after I picked out his urn and we went through the memorial service, the last time I got to touch my son, the last time I got to see him and kiss him before he was cremated. And then I pick up his ashes in the, yeah, right in that box, and
Yeah.
so the media came out. They heard how, well, News 4, Channel 4, LA 4 came out, and they saw the big memorial for Dominic, and they didn't realize how well loved he was, how big he was. And so, and the reporter told me that. So they found our address. They came to the house. I'm still a mess. I'm still not sure if I'm dreaming, if it's a nightmare, if I'm ever going to wake up. You just don't know what your name is anymore. You forget to eat or drink. Anthony and I had to say, okay, if you eat one bite, I eat one bite. If you drink, I drink. So the reporter comes up and he says, we didn't realize how well loved he was and how big he was. And they did the story. And at that time, I'm still thinking drunk driver. That's all I knew. Drunk driver turned in front of him. It came on the news, and 2 days later, Don Rosenberg, who lost his son Drew, I think it was 2 years prior. Numbers sometimes.
I remember that.
Yeah. He
I
saw
remember
me.
that.
He saw me on the news, contacted the news station, and they let me know and gave me his number. He was my first contact, and he's my best friend. And he's the president of our group, AVIAC. I will talk about that later. But so I had no idea. He already knew before I knew. He had an inkling that this guy was not an American, and that wasn't just an accident. So the news are there, and it's in the paper, and we have a good friend, Brian Rokas. He's with the Press Enterprise in Riverside. And so for a little while, everybody talked about it. And then one day, this cop, who was the first responder and a friend of Dominic's, whispered, and he said, you need to ask the DA a little bit more about the guy who killed Dominic. Something isn't right. And I didn't get it. Because the DA kept telling us, let's not go to trial. We got you. We want to see justice for Dominic. And he was a big part of this community. We got you. Trust us. And well, I don't know, but I trust him. So finally, I asked the DA, I said, what is it with this driver? And he had to admit that it was an illegal. This guy, I refuse to say his name.
Don't, because he doesn't need media.
No.
Yeah, don't say his name.
The killer of my child. He has a big mole right here. He came from Guatemala, and had a felony armed robbery. He served, I think, 9 days or something, cleaning crew. He had grand theft auto, another felony. But the DA talked with him about, well, let's plead guilty, and we'd take one off, and all the little deals that people make when they commit crimes. He was deported. He came back. He was caught drunk driving, without a license, without insurance, without registration. And if that would be you or anybody that's listening to this, we'd be in jail. We would
Can I tell you something? They should arrest the people that overserve those people.
Yeah.
And on that note too, don't just take the driver's license, take the damn car away from the person so they can't hurt anybody.
You know what? The sad part is with illegals, they drive these little old hoopties.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
They walk away. They get another one with a different driver license because they get so many fake ones. You can get them at any swap meet. You can have 5 different.
Oh my goodness.
So this guy was busted now. Now, mind you, the DA knew he was illegally here from Guatemala. He had given fake names before. 2 felonies, 1 deportation, 1 DUI. Guess what he got? Probation. Yeah.
Really?
And so but I didn't find that out right away. That took some time.
And this was in California, right? This was in California.
So Riverside is a sanctuary city, even though they claimed we're not. Really.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't. But so they let the guy go. They gave him a stern warning, don't do that no more. And then, okay, so he was caught again while on probation. Now we know how many people are in jail if they had 2 felonies and got caught on probation drunk driving again. They're still sitting there. This guy got probation again. And 5 weeks later, he drove up the street in the morning, turned in front of Dominic's motorcycle, and killed my child. When the first responder came to the scene, it was Dominic's best friend. It was a motorcycle cop that he was working on to become a motorcycle cop so he could ride with him.
Man, that pisses me off.
On his best friend's accident, horrific accident scene. And he went into shock, and he just stood there. They had to call, the fire department came. Well, Station 6 in Moreno Valley worked with Dominic. That was his station. This is where his shirt is from. They find out it's their friend. They had to call Highway Patrol to take over because they couldn't nobody could handle it. They covered Dominic with a flag, and he didn't need a coroner. So they transported his body on the fire truck to the coroner with the police cars behind him, giving him the respect. And the call went into the 911 call went in to dispatch where Dominic was working, and they were waiting for him. And they had a feeling it was him. And the young lady who took that call, she couldn't work there anymore. She's becoming an attorney to fight this mess. So in his death, he's changing things. He's changing people. He's helping. But once I found out what it was, and that wasn't illegal, okay, now I'm starting to talk different when I do an interview. Now I'm talking about illegals.
Because you're angry.
The media, where they at? They disappeared. They did not want to hear me talk about it. And I got very angry. And I felt, and then that's another thing. You lose people in your life that you think are your best friends. And a tragedy happens and they run. And I would hear later, well, I didn't know what to say. I'm sorry and give me a hug.
It's because it's not their kid and they're cowards. And you know what? Here's the thing with the media too, because I know a lot of these people. That's why I quit doing all this stuff and I stopped using my middle name. I used to do YouTube and all that stuff. If it doesn't fit the narrative, they don't have a story. If they want to come out and just like, we have 10 people. No, we have tons of platforms, tons of pages. This will be shared on.
Yeah.
It's not about the damn narrative anymore.
No.
They keep propping up all these stupid things with illegal immigrants and school shootings, and you know who it's really about? The parents. The parents who don't get to see their kids. And that's why I'm so angry with this, is because an illegal immigrant, oh sorry, I don't believe that.
Illegal
Let's change the
alien.
narrative.
Yeah,
An
illegal
illegal
alien.
criminal,
Yeah.
an illegal criminal who had a car, a driver's license, and alcohol stole your son's precious life, who's looks like he was a very happy person in that picture behind
He
you,
was.
who had a future. He had a future.
Yeah. But
Sorry,
But
continue. I didn't mean to get...
it's not just the media. I didn't know enough about the media. To me, it was like, okay, I have CNN and Fox, and the media is telling me what's happening. I had no clue how corrupt media is and how much they lie.
Yes.
I didn't know.
And how corrupt some of those people in internet media are, too.
Yeah, but I didn't know. I listen to the news and I take that for what it is. But what got to me even worse was the people that were my friends that disappeared. They were gone. And people that I didn't think would be around, they surrounded me. They were there. But my questions weren't answered. So the DA kept giving me the runaround. We went to court. It was a traffic court. And the killer of my son received a misdemeanor vehicular manslaughter without gross negligence. And I remember still asking the DA, why is it without gross negligence? If you had 2 DUIs, you were told not to drive anymore and not to get in and you did what? Isn't that gross negligence? No. And he came up with this legal mumbo jumbo. And I'm still in this fog where I really don't know much what's going on. I wasn't aware of a lot. And we go to court and it's a hearing and we did our impact statements. The whole courtroom was crying. And the judge looks at me and he says, "Oh, ma'am, I wish I would have known all this previously, but I gave the guy a deal and I have to honor my word." You know, at that moment, I started looking around and I thought, I'm being pranked here. This is really a nightmare. I'm going to wake up.
You know, what you did was you looked at that judge and you said, here's another corrupt jerk bureaucrat that has taken the law into his own hands and not researched the case. We have so many judges who don't do their job. Look at the facts on the paper, and they make the wrong judgment, so that guy got a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Yeah. Well, he got a deal for, he gave him 9 months and 5-year probation because clearly probation worked so well previously. But the saddest part is, and I didn't know that right then and there, we found out while that killer was in jail waiting for that hearing, he bailed out. He got to bail out per a federal judge's orders for $10,000 cash. Now, he claimed to speak no English and have no money. He's a day laborer, the ones who stand in front of Home Depot, because that's where it was. He got to bail out. He was so arrogant. Instead of taking off, he came back for the hearing. And in Spanish, he gave that judge, I mean, his nose was so brown, it wasn't even funny. "Oh, you're the best judge, and I'm so glad, and I'm proud of you, Judge, how far you came in your life." And it was surreal. And then finally he said, "Well, Judge, God gives life, God takes life. I was only on my way to work." That was as close to an apology I would ever get.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I feel sorry for that judge, and if that ever happens to his family.
Well, there is an end to that story. The judge gave him his 9 months, 5-year probation. The killer of my son served 35 days in jail.
Oh,
35.
my goodness.
Because of Dominic being known so well, and because they realized that this German mama is now a roaring tiger, a mama bear. I'm coming for you. You're not getting away with this.
That's how my wife is.
Yeah, that's what you do for your kids. So I couldn't save him from having that horrible accident and getting killed like that by this son of a bitch. But I could make sure that this guy wasn't just going to walk the streets again like he done previously done. So they took him to a immigration detention center in the desert in Adelanto, about an hour and a half from us. And an ICE agent who didn't know me called me and told me where that guy was, because nobody would tell me. They were trying to hide that from me. So an ICE agent anonymously told me, go to Adelanto, he's out there. Because they had enough of it already. Because these guys risked their lives for what? So they let loose like they did in Oakland?
Catch and release.
Yeah.
Yeah, stupid. It's like fishing.
Yeah. And then Anthony and I, for a year and a half, every week we went out to Adelanto. We sat there and we let the judge know and the DA and everybody else know, we're not going away. This guy will not go away. And then we befriended a ICE agent who kept in touch with us. And he said, I keep an eye on him because, now get this. Like I said, I had no idea. He said, sometimes we get a note from above, from the boss, and it says, open the back door. We're overcrowded. And they open the back door, and these guys who harmed somebody get released. So he made sure that the guy who killed Dominic did not get released. I got a call a year and a half later that they were on the way to the airport and they were taking him to Guatemala. So I asked the ICE agent to please save California some money. Just fly over, open the door, and push him out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Save the,
justice served.
That cost too much. Well, they didn't do it, but I know.
They didn't do it. Yeah, I know, right?
But I know from good sources that he's back. His family's in Riverside, and he's going to hurt somebody. I know. I will see that mole again on in a news report that somebody got killed in a hit and run, whatever. I know I will. He never owned it. He never apologized. So
can I tell you something?
Sure.
Even though he's not going to pay for it on this earth, there is a hell. And he will burn in hell for it.
Of course. But
no, I don't mean of course. I mean, this is for everybody to.
Yeah.
No, but this is for everybody because I know the guy's arrogant enough. He hasn't prayed. He hasn't repented. He's probably targeting other people because they get an ego going on. When they get this ego, they attack more people. It's disgusting.
Well, he clearly, when he never apologized, and actually at the accident scene, and that's what one of the cops who got there. He was so shocked. The guy was sitting there on the sidewalk like this, chewing on his nails like, could we get this over with? He was, in a hurry to get somewhere. So it will continue. And the attitude, but why wouldn't he have that attitude? You have two felonies, you have 2 DUIs, and you get probation? We wouldn't even get that. And that's what really pisses me off is we have people with a little joint in their car. They just smoked a little blunt. They're going to prison if they had a DUI.
And I agree with you. I agree with you. That is so wrong of Jeff Sessions to harass those people. We got illegal criminals killing people that should just ride their motorcycle.
But illegal
drinking.
In every one of the stories that you will, and I'm so grateful to you for doing this, but every story you will hear the same thing, that these illegals get minimum sentences. They get away. Some of them walk around after they killed somebody. They don't even get handcuffed.
I read something where these people were allowed to leave the scene and never saw court.
Yes, absolutely. And you wouldn't believe it, because if I would have heard my story 8 years ago, I would have never believed. I would say, oh, come on, woman, you crazy. It's true. I met the mothers of a son that was killed, and the killer got to walk away. He's still walking around. And
I know this from a buddy who I worked with that works on the border. There's a 2-mile radius all around the United States, and they harass more U.S. citizens than they do illegal criminals. And they're told to look the other way and let them leave.
Yeah.
To let them just go back over the border. Costs too much money.
different sheriff in town, and I hope, even though everything is slow, it seems too slow for us sometimes, that it's happening. It needs to change. It can't go like this.
That is so sad. The whole thing with Kate Steinle too. Yeah, I did read that. The killer.
I called her mother 2 days after it happened. Kate, Mom and I, we talked, and she was in complete shock. I could tell what she was going through, and I just let her know she's not alone. And then we met in Washington when they were testifying in front of a judiciary committee. She was just sitting there shaking, and they had to deal with that.
It was so surreal. This should not happen. This should not happen to our kids. And the justice system and the police officers, the attorneys and lawyers that go party together, they should all be held accountable.
Well,
they are screwing over everybody.
Yeah. Well,
Excuse
the
my
sad
language.
part is the judge that resigned over Dominic's case. I wrote a letter to his boss, and I said, this is unacceptable. This can't be. And we had letters from all of Dominic's friends protesting that sentence. 9 months, 5 years. You spent 35 days in jail. And the judge told me he can't change it, and he wishes me all the best. So nothing happened. But karma comes in many ways. I found out that the judge, first of all, he lost his grandson in an accident.
Oh.
I don't know if it was an illegal. And I felt horrible. But he got a taste of my tears. And a little while later, a friend called me, and she worked in the courthouse. That judge was let go. They fired him because he was giving Hispanic defendants a break. Hello. Yes, he did. So he's done, but he's still going to collect his retirement. He's good to go. But for us,
My wife, not to give out court information, because the walking orifice with legs that we did a video on that I had to delete, maybe watching, got victimized by a judge. These people party with the attorneys that do cases in their courtrooms.
Yes,
They know there is such bias that they don't hear the petitioner does not get the same the defense team and the petitioner's team, and these teams all hang out together. It's about money.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's the Good Boys Club, and they work together, and we suffer. And you will hear that from every family, how we've been let down. And it's not just that we have to deal with the death of a child or a loved one because of somebody that wasn't even supposed to be here.
Yep.
There's no excuse.
And now they want those people to vote. So imagine they want this criminal who was drinking and driving with a fake license and a car that it probably didn't belong to him. He probably stole it and killed your son. Now they want him to be a voter for the Democrat Party.
That, and they want us to register every gun, but they don't care about registering illegal aliens, criminals, or non-criminal. You know, that's another thing I meant to say. I don't agree when people talk about illegal alien criminals, because if you're an illegal alien here, you're already a criminal. Number one.
Exactly. Illegal criminal.
You walk into my house without being invited. You're not a guest. You're not a family member. You are a freaking invader. You need to go.
And it's sad because the way you just said that was how Chuck Schumer said it in 2013. Almost to the point that it sounded just like how you said. You know what he did? He took some of that George Soros money, to be honest and quite frank, and now the narrative is so stupid and different. It's ridiculous.
So then they come up with this, okay, well, there are so many good illegals. Well, do you want to wait till the good illegal runs over your mother or your child by accident? But he was a good one. He worked hard. He was always under the radar. No, I don't want to wait. I don't want to lose somebody else. I don't want to meet another family member crying on my shoulder or whose pain I know. I don't want that. So I don't have good or bad illegal. They all illegal aliens, and they all got to go. Each
I
one.
have been criticized for using that term, illegal criminal, but
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you right now, I pay my taxes. I get raped in my taxes.
yeah.
I was
Same
born
here.
here. Yeah. Yeah, and you pay your taxes. And another example, if you became a citizen,
Yeah,
you pay your taxes, your kid paid his taxes, and
yeah,
you're a victim. Why
yeah.
are we the victims?
Ain't
You know what I
nobody
mean?
happy. Ain't nobody happy
And
that
hold
we
on. And what you just said earlier answered what I was talking about this afternoon. He came from Guatemala, not from Mexico. People need to start waking up.
Yeah, and it's not just that. They come from everywhere. So as long as we don't have that full force border, it's not getting better because it's like a revolving door. We need to, there is so much, take the incentives. Why are they getting welfare? Why are they getting any help? Because if we would apply Mexican immigration law, they wouldn't be here because they wouldn't get anything. They couldn't buy a house. They couldn't do nothing like
Do you
they
know
do.
in Mexico, they actually get put in jail for these things that we let them get away with?
Yeah,
They
but
are
here,
forced to spend time in jail.
but you don't, I have no idea how deep this was and how big this problem was. And so by the time the media started disappearing a couple of months after his death, I started, it was even a couple of years later. I got to testify in Washington at a judiciary hearing in front of Trey Gowdy and Bob Goldblatt, shared my story, and I walked out and I felt so alone because there was nobody there. There was nobody caring about this, and it kept going on and on. And by 2015, I was ready to take my life. I
Well,
couldn't
thank
take.
God you didn't, because it seems like
No, I'm
it seems like you're doing really good right now. It seems
well.
like you're happy again.
I am, and I
There's
gotta
nothing wrong with that. Your son would be happy
no,
to know that you're.
God. My son would. He was the happiest guy. Why wouldn't I be? I absolutely,
Exactly. And you know
absolutely.
what? When we're sad and when we're depressed and when we think like that and we drink, we give more to those criminals. It,
Yeah,
it builds up their ego. Just like
yeah,
these Democrats and these
yeah,
fake Tea Party libertarians, these people who are corrupting our country, they want DACA. They want
yeah,
victims.
yeah.
They
And
want victims.
well, yeah, and they want us to go away. But we became a force, and I'm so proud of each and every one of these moms and dads and brothers and sisters who know my pain for speaking up. And some of them, it took a while. It's not everybody's thing to get out there and speak, but
And I will say this. I
they
will
are
say this, and I've
they
said
are
this
stick
from day
right.
one. There are many good people who have come to this country and become citizens. I am not
That's right.
against. I am not against anybody who one of my best friends is from Italy. He lives down the road from me, cuts my hair for me. One of the best guys I've ever met. He is from Italy. He has a green card, pays his taxes. His
That's
kids
how
go
you're
to
supposed
Taekwondo.
to do it. You know,
They
the
deserve
trouble I
citizenship.
went through, and I told one of the senators I was talking to, or his help, because the Democratic senators, they don't meet with us. They sent their little
Yeah.
staff. So I asked the staff, I said, where can I go get my check? And she looked at me a little weird, and I said, yeah, I want my money back for the time I spent getting my citizenship, becoming a legal citizen, and doing it the right way. I spent money, time, and years, lots of money. And I want my money back if everybody else
My
can
buddy
come.
Luca, he's been waiting years, not months,
Yes,
years, over 20 years.
yeah. And you do, because that's how it's done right. But things are changing. We got a voice, and I got to go back to the day where I knew I was going to commit suicide. I had it all planned out. Poor Anthony had no idea what was coming. And the day Donald Trump announced his candidacy, he came down the escalator and he spoke about, because he's running for president. And then I was walking through my living room, and I was like, yeah, okay. I was still a Democrat. I said, oh, cool. You know, I watched his show, The Apprentice. Didn't ring much true that what he's gonna do. So he's talking about he's running for president, and he said those two words. illegal immigration.
Hmm.
And I dropped to my knees and I cried. And I looked up and I knew, I talked to my God again. I told him, I said, that was your sign to let me know I can't do this. Somebody finally acknowledged our tragedies that have been going on way long before Kate Steinley, before Dominic, before Drew, before Brandon, before Matthew, and Sarah, and there are so many more that I would love to name. Like I said, I have their bracelets in the back right there behind me. So finally, somebody spoke up for that. I had no clue what was coming because a month later was July 10th, 2015, when I got a call and somebody said, "Can you meet Donald Trump in Los Angeles?" I was like, "Yeah, right. Dominic's friends, they pranking me." And I hung up. And they called back. And they said, "No, he wants to meet you." So Anthony and I,
That's why we need to stand up for our president. He is a good guy.
yeah. And so we
These,
met with him. He listened to us. And it was Jamil Shaw and Don Rosenberg and another mom. And we got to share our stories. And he listened to us without any bodyguards, anybody. And then he took us in front of the media because we all told him that nobody listens to us. So he gave my son and all the other moms and dads' kids, their loved ones who got killed by an illegal criminal, he gave them a voice. We got to share our story. Now, all of a sudden, CNN and everybody else wanted an interview. And I'm like, oh, wow, look at that.
well, I'm going to tell you this real quick, and I'm not cutting you off. You hear this. I've heard this from people who I thought were friends and family. They'll say, "Oh, we love you. You're a friend." No. The reason why I'm doing this on my personal page is because you're a friend in your family now. I'm going to come up with something. We have to get people's voices heard. You know, this is not for Facebook fame or for money. This stupid things that people do for Facebook. It's so dumb. You know,
this is to get, and I was blessed that I got to go and speak with him, and I got to speak at a rally, and I got to speak at the RNC. I've been blessed that I had all these opportunities, but there are thousands of families that never had their story told. They didn't have the strength. They didn't know who, how, what. Well, now they do through you, and who knows where that goes. Because each one of them, they have to be able to share this. Because America needs to know that this could happen to anyone they like, they love, they care for at any given moment. And it don't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what state, what city. It can happen anywhere. I live in rural Arkansas now. The next big city is 45 minutes away, Texarkana. We have a lot of illegals here. And already tonight, I saw on Facebook a young lady got hit from behind in her car, and the guy took off. He was an Hispanic, and bing, 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 ding, bingo. Let me double check who I think that was. So
and you know it's funny. You'll hear people. They'll want to make you a hypocrite, right? They'll say, "Oh, not all Mexicans are." We're not talking about Hispanic as in Mexicans that are legal citizens. We're talking about people from Mexico. There's a difference. When people say Mexican illegals, they're talking Mexico. I got harassed on an email from some troll for about 45 minutes.
Well, I don't even get into them with it anymore. I send them the little troll spray face, and then I block them. But I don't discriminate because I always tell people, I say, I don't care where you from. If you're from Germany, England, Scotland, Sweden, Nicaragua, Mexico, I don't care. I don't care what color you are. If you are here illegally and you haven't committed a crime other than coming here illegally and being here, I don't care. You gotta go. You have no right here. You have no right to stay. And with the DACA, just because your mom dropped you off at my house doesn't mean I'm gonna now race you. No, we have enough of our own. So our priorities need to be different. And I'm tired of everybody else coming before us. We have enough of our own. We have enough children that go hungry. We have enough elderly that can't afford the medication or their food. So they have to, make a decision. Do I take my meds or do I eat? We have veterans that already paid their dues. They're sleeping on the street. And as long as our own house is in disarray, why do we care about those who break in? No, I don't. And I don't care what age you are. I don't care if you've been here 30 years. You were lucky you got to be here 30 years. Get out. Take your family with you. We don't want to separate any families. So the whole family got to go. My favorite motto is...
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Go ahead.
no, I said my favorite motto is no illegal left behind.
We have 1.8 million people, supposedly, that they want to keep. I went and researched the number of veterans that are sleeping homelessly on the streets. And let me tell you something. Between the Bell worship, devil, dynamic, it's so disgusting. I hate Planned Parenthood. Besides Planned Parenthood and the ruthless DACA recipients that get all these benefits, our poor soldiers who come home to nothing, right, need a voice. And that's going to be the next thing I'm working on alongside the angel moms and fathers and families, because all these people that I was sending my money to, they're on the media, they have these little TV shows and all this stuff. They were working on this. They're not doing it no more. Now they're focused on the Parkland shooting. If we give these people attention, they're going to keep doing it. If we keep publicizing Hernando Guadalupe Lahar, they're going to stay in America. They're going to glorify what they do in hurting people, and it's going to multiply. You're talking going from chain migration to mafias. MS-13, these people look at it on TV because they've never seen the gang. Latino Thug Kings, the Bloods, the Crips, those are nothing compared to the Mexican Mafia. The Mexican Mafia, whose money Ted Cruz wants to use to build the wall. You don't think that there's something more they know about going on? We need to protect our kids.
Yes,
we need to protect our kids against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Well, and I always bring up this example. If I have 2 kids in my house and it's filthy mess and I don't feed my kids, they're starving, but I go next door and clean up and play with those kids and feed them, they would have somebody here take my kids away from me. So why don't we take care of our own first, and then we can help others? But this can't continue. And every time I kind of calm down for a while, and then I hear this mayor from Oakland, being so proud that she warned all these illegals that ICE is coming. And I want to go and sit with, I want to do much more than just sit with her, but I would like to spend a few minutes with her and see this pain and explain to her what she's doing. But it's not just her. It's so many others, and it's more, and I didn't know that. It's about votes, and it's about cheap labor. They're not going to get rid of that. They're not going to stop it. That's why they're fighting our president on everything. And I'm holding his feet to the fire when he promised us he will end DACA on the first day, and he didn't.
And then let me elaborate on this too. I agree with you 110%. And the one thing that I have to believe, that I have to stick to on just the only reason why, because I know that Donald Trump is at the end of his life, he wants to do something good, is he has lasers on him. He's got sniper rifles that want to make sure that he doesn't do that because they want votes. The gun grabbing thing, just for anybody who's watching, or they're going to watch tomorrow too, I heard a quote that made me sick. How do you become president of the United States? This is when Lyndon B. Johnson killed JFK. You become vice president. Not saying anything about Pence, but I'm saying he can't trust anybody in his cabinet.
That's the hardest part. Yeah.
Can't trust him.
He woke up. He woke me up. I didn't care about politics. I was a Democrat because my ex was a Democrat. But as soon as I started learning and hearing and feeling it, because unless you experience this, your mind can't even let you go there. And thank God it can't, because you would harm yourself if you knew the kind of turmoil, the kind of pain. This is 24/7. It never stops. Never.
You're
There's
still
never.
going through it.
Yeah. Almost 6 years later, it's still like it was yesterday. We just learned to fake it and learn to live with it. But
My Uncle Matt, and my Uncle Basil on my mom and my dad's side. My Uncle Basil died in 1990. My Uncle Matt died in 91 after serving in the Persian Gulf War. They still suffer daily. My grandmothers
yeah,
suffer daily.
yeah.
Losing your babies,
It doesn't.
you
It's
can't
not like
change
the
that.
death of a parent that that's the way of life. But this is different. But what gets me is now that I'm in it, and back then I heard Hillary Clinton talk about what she would do for illegals and refugees, and I ran and became a Republican. Now that I'm in DC a lot more, and I'm talking to people, and I'm talking to different senators or reporters, whatever, I'm learning that most people don't want to change illegal immigration because it's a lot of money. Where I'm at right now, they have Tyson. Tyson has all these chicken houses. Well, let me guess who works in there for minimum wage under the table. Who's saving money? The big companies. The politicians. I was stunned when I heard politicians speak up for illegals instead of for Americans. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? It's money. It's big business. So we're fighting a battle uphill against the stream with our legs tied up, hands tied up. But we can't become quiet. And with you doing this and you allowing all of these amazing moms, dads, brothers, and sisters share their feelings and their stories and get it out, you're reaching new people that had no idea. That it's
Well, my goal is too, is have you noticed that like on TV, nobody wants to hear the moms talk anymore? Can you imagine if they opened up like all these stupid C-SPAN things and they had a mom on the microphone for the first 15 minutes? You wouldn't have Nancy Pelosi stand for 8 hours in high heels talking about little Guadalupe Lahar.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
fake name. I'm just using it. Sorry if anybody's named that. It's just stupid. You know what I mean? It's like, who are these people to be taking the rights of our kids' dreams, you know?
Yeah. Well, we have to follow the laws. And yet they don't have to. They get break after break after break. And after a while, it has to dawn on everybody that there's a bigger picture behind that. It's not about the security of Americans. It's the security of illegals to make sure they're okay. And sadly, there are many. If you go to LA, and I never forget, Watts used to be a predominantly black neighborhood.
Yes.
Went to a funeral, Anthony and I, of one of his motorcycle friends. And we drove around and we looked, and I said, you sure we're in Watts? It looked like Tijuana. They come in and they push out black people out of their neighborhoods. Black people in those neighborhoods, they move somewhere. They have to move somewhere else. And it's like this cancer that spreads where they take over more and more neighborhoods. And before you know it, it's all Hispanic. And that's
it's just like
the fact.
Yeah, it's just like the refugee problem that we have, where you go, Lisa and Jennifer are behind this movement for Trump, and you go to, I think it's in Phoenix right now, and they drive all over Phoenix, and it's becoming the little Middle East. And they have all these hidden messages on buildings to get rid of Americans and get rid of U.S. citizens to take over our country. And then, like Dennis Michael Lynch's stuff, too. You go look at Dalborn, Michigan.
Yes. Oh, my God.
Yeah, all these Muslim mosques that are just going up. It's crazy. It's an overthrow.
There's nothing wrong with helping people, but what happens is that the illegals or refugees in that case, they bring in their people into government positions, into city council. In LA, there's a Huntington Park. They have 2 illegals serving on the city council. But that's how it works, because then they bring in their cousin and they bring in, and all of a sudden you have all this pro-illegal laws passed, and nobody in the neighborhood knew anything about it. There's so much dirt going on. It's sad that my son became just collateral damage. And like
Oh,
you
yeah.
see with the TV shows, even Fox and, well, we know CNN and MSNBC. I've been on there and they try to derail me and all that. I woke up real quick, but
I woke up real quick.
They give us 2 minutes. They give us 2 minutes where they show a picture of my son, and then I get to share the story, and then it's like, okay, well, thank you for coming on, and we're so sorry for your loss. And that's it. They could
Oh,
have
no, here's the sad thing.
meeting, like they had for
Collateral, yeah,
for the-
collateral damage. And then now they're trying to get these people elected. They want these same people who are killing Americans to
Yeah.
work for the system.
Yeah.
You have a guy in Minneapolis, who is now, what is he? He's not a congressman. He's a council member.
Yeah.
And then there's another lady running for Senate seats. And
Yeah.
ding, 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 they're from Mosul,
Yeah.
or they're from Iraq. And they're here and they're on a
Somalia,
visa.
anything. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
they-
Somalia. Yeah, exactly.
But
Nuts.
if people, if the media really wanted to know and have our voices heard, they would have a town hall meeting like they had for the shooting victims. CNN did that
Yes.
big arena thing. They would never do that with us, because if you would have 20 of us moms and dads and sisters and brothers on a stage, America would finally wake up to what's going on. So they can't do that. They give us a little bit here and there, and that's it.
Here's some inside baseball, right? From somebody that I've contacted that told me a little bit about some stuff. It doesn't fit the script. So
Yeah.
you have this Parkland shooter, right? Because this is what we're going to put in with this video, because it's part of what happened to your son. We have a Parkland shooter who can't be identified. The story doesn't match, right? Because we went from talking about moms and their kids who've been victimized by illegal criminals to now we need to get away from the Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton / his whole administration being under attack for the lies and things they did to this country. So they start doing the gun grabbing and school shootings. I've never seen so many school attacks in my life.
Yeah.
Tell me that does not have staged behind it. Not saying people don't die, but
Yeah.
people need a political
Yeah.
political tool to go against our president, who's trying to help people like you who lost their kids and were victimized. You know who victimized you? Barack Obama,
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton. These people who stood there and said it's a temporary solution, when really what they were doing, since he bows down to the Muslim Brotherhood,
Yeah.
it's a temporary confirmation that we're going to allow illegals to come into our nation and take us over.
You know what it seems like? We're being destroyed from within.
Exactly. And it all started in 1990. Oh, it all started in 1990 by George Bush. This whole New World Order thing and making people afraid of people. I mean, and we are going to create, what they're doing is they're trying to make sure that we are in a state of fear. We won't fight back against the system. We won't stand for our kids that we've lost. We won't have groups like the Angel Parents. You know, Kate Steinle, right? I don't know how many times I read articles, and I was like, man, I'm going to do a video on this and probably get myself banned off Facebook. They wanted that shooting. That person didn't just randomly pick somebody.
Yeah.
You know, he had a motive. These people have motives. They're jealous. They hate us. They hate America. They hate all the rights that we were born with, and they want to take everything away from us.
Where else do they live in a country illegally for 20 years, wave their Mexican flag or whatever state flag, and don't speak a lick of English? I had to learn English. I had to do a writing test, and I had to talk to somebody in English before I even got my resident alien card. But
I'll bet you this. Look behind you on your wall. You might have the German flag.
Oh, I'm sure.
You sure in the hell, but you sure in the hell have an American flag there too, because you are a U.S. citizen.
And a very special one. I gotta share this with you. That flag behind me, per our since I now have a really good governor, Senator Tom Cotton.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, his
Okay.
office and we've been in contact. I'm his favorite resident. He probably tells all of them that. But
Right.
this flag was flown over the Capitol in Washington, D.C. on January 22nd this year. It was Dominic's, it would have been his 36th birthday. So that
Oh, that's
flag
cool.
flew in D.C. over the Capitol, and then they send it to me with a certificate. So it's very
That's
special.
cool.
Yeah.
You know,
The other
a lot of
flag
times,
I have is the one that covered his casket, and that's in a box, and I'm not taking that out. Yeah. So.
I'm gonna tell you what. A lot of our kids who go and serve and police the world. We have a lot of kids who go and knock down doors, and you know, we need to bring our kids home. We have things going on here. We're not protected. We don't have our military here to protect our
You
people
know,
and our kids.
it's good you say that. I heard that on Fox. One of the guys said, "Oh, it was a soldier who went to Afghanistan, and he said we protect their borders more and stronger and more fierce than we protect our own borders." That statement almost blew my mind, and it's true. We gotta stop this. We have to we gotta get that wall in. We have to stop the incentives where illegal
Well, check
can
this
get
out.
back.
I'm going to help you connect something that I didn't even connect until today or yesterday with Tanya. Have you noticed that when they shut down the White House, right? It was the same time period. Not only were they talking about DACA, but they were, if you go and do some research, they were trying to take down some military bases and make us more defenseless. They are shutting down. Barack Obama led the charge on this one. He wanted to thin out the military, but keep us overseas to where we didn't have military protection. You know what's wrong with the United States of America? And I love my country. We have bad banking principles with the Rothschilds and the military complex.
Wow.
We used to create weapons for war to protect us. Now we're creating wars for new weapons. That's the thing. We need to stop being police officers for the rest of the world and think about our own people. 9/11 was a wake-up call, and it was a criminal action by our own government. And I'm going to leave it at that because every time I research it, nothing adds up. And now DACA is going to be the next 9/11. It's going to tear our country apart from within, and we're going to have more of these. I hate to say it. We're going to have more parents who are victims.
Yes, we will, because if you never check into any of these theories of 9/11 or anything else, but if you just watch what these illegal DACAs, and they illegals, I don't care what they call themselves, I don't care how old they were because most of them came here on their own, they have fake documents, they're not the age they claim. But anyway,
they're 65, they're already ready to retire, they're like
60. But what gets me is when I watch them go into a government building, into the Senate building, with their orange hats and all their signs and their T-shirts, and they create a mess in there, and they stop traffic, and they block offices, they sit in offices and stop these people from doing their work. And nobody stops them. But when I walk into the same building with my group of angel moms and dads, we are being double checked. One of them was told, that picture I have of Dominic, they said, well, you can't hold the picture like that. You got to hold it to you so we can't see. We are citizens going into the Senate building while these idiots in there, these illegal idiots, running around acting a fool, and nobody stops them. Where are the ICE buses? Why aren't they arrested? So that tells me right there that they don't have rights. They're not citizens. So why are you letting them act a fool, but we got to act right? So
I watched a video.
All that.
Oh, yeah. I watched a video earlier, and they're showing these young college kids and people who are probably not in college. And they're talking about how they've gotten their DACA stuff for a year. They got to reapply every 9 months or whatever it is within that year in 90 days. And it just dumbfounds me that these people have forgotten something. Why don't we make it a bill? You want to become a citizen? Go serve in the military. You want to become a citizen? You know, you want to be a DACA kid at 21 and get free school, which you're already getting.
Yeah.
Let's make your citizenship based, and I'm talking men mostly. Let's make your citizenship based on the military. You know, if we keep giving them incentives on living for free without having to fight for anything, they're going to keep on moving in. But can you imagine that guy with the mole on his face? They throw his ass in the Marines, send him overseas. He's kicking down doors still with, landmines. He would
Yeah.
probably go back to Mexico.
Yeah. Well, I still believe they should go back and get in line like I had to and many others.
Oh yeah, I agree too. Yes.
You know, you don't just break in and then, okay, well, since I've been here for 3 months in your house and I've been really good, now I get adopted. No, you're not. You're going to go get out of there. And if I want you to come back in, you get in line with all the others. So
How long did you have to wait? How long did you have to wait to become?
It was at least 5 years, 6 years that I worked on becoming a citizen, because it's a long process, you know. And I carried my resident alien card. I was proud of it. I didn't mind being called resident alien. It was a step towards citizenship.
Well, you still paid taxes.
Yeah.
You still paid bills.
But
you were a citizen.
It was the rightful way, the legal way, and I had to really walk the fine line. Now, what really gets me is the lies we hear about DACA when they say, well, they only can have 2 misdemeanors and no felony. Please, we know the fraud that goes on. First of all, with the documents to apply for DACA, they have fake names, fake anything. And you know what? Even if out of 800,000, you have 100,000 good ones. Well, DACA is not constitutional. So it's over and done with. And now you can take all the free knowledge you gained on our tax dollars, go take your illegal parents who broke the law, who are at fault for you being here, take them, go to your country of origin, and help that country get, because you're a valedictorian, you're brain surgeon, like they claim they're all, lawyers. Go do something good in the country of your origin and take your parents with you. And then if you want to come back to America, then you get in line behind all these other immigrants that have filled out papers and did it the right way. Because I'm pretty sick and tired of paying for everybody and their mama, and they don't even belong in here. And it has
not only everybody and their mama, their grandma, their great uncle Hector. You know what I mean? Their fourth niece. You know what I mean? It's like.
Well, did you hear the case of the guys from the IRS who were telling their boss, there's a wrong paper. This guy filled out the same paper with 2 different names, claiming 2 nephews and two nieces, and it was waved through. He got a $15,000 rebate, refund from the IRS. I didn't get that. And it's not just one. But then you have these people go on TV and talk about, well, not all immigrants, and that drives me apeshit crazy, because we're not talking about immigrants, we're talking about illegal aliens. Not all of them commit crimes. Well, first of all, I don't want to wait till that good one does something, and that's not the point. And then I want to know, what's the number of American citizens killed by illegals? That's a cutoff line where they say, okay, now we had 10,000 killed. That's enough. How many more? They had 17 killed in Florida, and that was enough. 17 a month would be a great number for us. It would be 17 a month. We have about 15 to 20 Americans killed every day, but nobody talks about it. And then we have rape, and we have child trafficking. We have identity theft. So it's such a big problem. I'm praying, I'm hoping we can stop this. We can educate, we can do what you're doing to let us on and talk and bring all
and here's another thing too, though. We have feminazism and liberals who are trying to lead the charge to allow DACA to stay because they've spoiled, rotten, brat American kids who haven't paid taxes or had a job. And when you look at the amount of brainwashing that's going on,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, they're watching all these stupid TV shows that you see. This is probably one of the only ways people need to start sharing the truth on Facebook. I know so many people that have woken up
Yeah.
because, believe it or not, you're looking at someone who used to be a liberal
Yeah.
when I was a kid.
I was
Because when I was a kid, I was taught we were poor and we were Hispanic, and that's what it was. And then when I grew up and became a man and worked, after I was playing music, I had to get a real job. I worked in the oil field and some other stuff, and it was, no, I'm a conservative. I'm a Republican. I love my country, and the liberals are killing this nation.
Yeah. It is, and for what? They're not gonna benefit from it. It's the
No.
upper echelon gonna benefit. The New World Order. And you know, when I first heard that, I was like, you're right. Come on.
Yeah,
You know,
Alex Jones.
crazy
No. Right.
anymore. It doesn't sound that crazy anymore because you see what's going on and how out of touch people are. And people,
Let
I
me
don't
let me
want
give you
somebody
let me
else
give
to know pain. To
let
get
me
it.
give you a prediction, and this is going to be using mathematics and common sense principles with what's going on in the world. We're going to be seeing blue helmets in our nation. They want the EU to take over. That's why they went and did all these stupid speeches to make Americans feel like criminals, because they want to push their new world order system. They don't believe that we can police our own country. So what they do is they stir up all these fake little wars with Black Lives Matter, Antifa, which is the Black Army in my book in the Bible. They look just like and act just like the terrorists that we fight overseas.
Right.
They're going to try to create an Agenda 21 or a militia war, right, where we are the criminals. We are put into FEMA camps. FEMA's not to help people. And I am not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy realist. When you go look at what Obama did in his 8 years, they were planning on Hillary Clinton to be elected. We'd have 16 years where the nation of America would fall and we would be overthrown. I look at Lindsey Graham and all these people who are rhino Republicans that sit there and let this happen, along with, and I was going to say, well, we talked about it earlier, Ted Cruz. Don't vote for Ted Cruz. How do you have dual citizenship in Canada and the U.S., and you're a congressman? That makes no sense to me. There's the problem. If they can get away with it, well, they can make somebody in Minneapolis a congressman who came from Somalia. So it's just nuts.
I don't want to wear a burqa. I don't look good with a covered face. I don't want to wear that. I just don't.
Not even with the Nike sign? No. Remember the Nike one that came out? It's so fashionable.
Yeah,
you
right.
can run twice the speed.
Yeah.
You can swim faster.
Or the burkini. I don't want to wear that.
The burkini, yeah.
No,
lie. That's fun. You know, I've never heard that one. That's funny. The burkini. That's awesome. Oh,
but
man.
we
I'm stealing that from you.
We live rural, and we have a sign half a mile down our driveway, and it says no trespassing. So since I know how to shoot and I own a gun, you try to come past that trespassing. I'm not going to aim for your left knee. I'm going to aim for your right nut and right about there. So
I will be wearing NRA shirts and my Make America Great Again hat on some future videos. I'm so done with these people trying to come after our guns. Your Second Amendment gets attacked, your First Amendment's gone, your Fifth Amendment's gone, then they're doing pre-crime.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
I want your daughter and your son, and I never have grandkids, and that's one of the big realities of this. I'll never be a grandmother. I'll never be a mother-in-law. And I was going to be the coolest grandmother ever, strapping that baby seat on the back of my motorcycle, going down the street.
Right.
They're like, But I'll never enjoy that. I'll never know what that feels like. But all of his friends are having babies. They're getting married. I want your kids to have your dreams come true. And that's the brutal reality.
You can cry. It's okay. We'll cry with you.
When you grow old, you know
Yeah.
you have kids, and they're gonna be there for you. They might not. Dominic always said he would never change my depends. He would hire somebody to do that. But the reality is, my family was wiped out. I have some of his toys that I saved for his kids. No, but I gave it to his friends. Most of his Legos went to his friends' kids. But I'm growing old, and I will not have a son to look after me. If anything happens to Anthony, I'm here by myself. I have tons of friends, but it's not my family. So
I gotta make you laugh. I gotta make you laugh real quick though, because I was thinking about this while you said that. Sometimes I'm mean to Dominic, and I told him, "Don't you dare beat my ass when I'm put into a
well,
home."
that's what Dominic used to say. Mom, remember, I might have to change you. I will put you in the home if you don't act right. So we joked about that, but my brutal reality is that everything that I worked for to give to him, my old age, I was looking forward to spend with grandkids and watching my son become that best helicopter pilot. I'd never have that. And it's not because he did something stupid. It's because my government did not protect him. And that's the hardest pill to swallow. And that I still have to fight this almost 6 years later. And that I still meet new angel moms. And that I still get emails from people that have been harmed by illegals. And then I watch TV and I hear some of our own politicians talk about what they will do for illegals. And it's sometimes I just want to shut it down. I don't want to talk no more. I don't want to watch no more news. But I owe my boy that much. I was given this voice by God for something and the strength to make it through that loss. So I'm going to continue to scream and be called Nazi. I've been called racist, and I'm like, racist? Have you seen my son? Have you met him? I get called Nazi, racist. I get the most horrendous messages sometimes. That the one that always sticks with me, usually I can look at it and because really, what's worse that could happen? One guy wrote to me that he is so glad that my nigger son is dead because now he's white.
Wow.
That brought me to my knees because it wasn't the message itself. It was like, who was behind that message? What a miserable son of a bitch do you have to be?
Amen.
To put that out there and say that to somebody who, it blew my mind. But we grow thick skin and we just keep moving forward for our kids, for our loved ones, and for others. Because I don't want to hug you and say, I know your pain. I don't want to ever say that again. I really don't. It has to end. People have to wake up, not because like me that it happened to them, but because they seen somebody, heard somebody. And that's why it's so important what you're doing. I appreciate you so much. I really
Well, I'll
do.
tell you what. I don't do the YouTube stuff like I used to do in 2013, but Ira, who has this page, it's called Christian Conservative News. We used to be the Dennis Michael Lynch fan page. I said we're changing this, and he agreed because there are so many people stuck on this stupid narrative that they need to promote numbers. I'm done talking about who's done what and what happened with this, because then there's another school shooting. And then we have Nick, I don't even want to say their names.
Yeah.
When we have real heroes who are out there on the front lines. I know.
Yeah.
I think I read an article about 10 minutes before I got on with you of another shooting of two people. It's like, and they want to go make movies. Oh, let's go make another movie about another shooting and glorify this like they did when I was a kid in Denver and we had Columbine happen.
Yeah,
that was right down the road from me. These people, they did 6 months movies and how they were going to do stuff. Now you got these illegal criminals who who are doing the same thing, but it no longer is school shootings. It's overthrowing the government.
Yeah.
You know how the government would be overthrown so easy, and they're allowing it to happen. These Tea Party undercover rhino Republicans from within. They go in.
That's the scary part. You don't know who to trust.
You don't know to trust. See, everybody keeps flipping on Donald Trump right away. They're like, oh, Donald Trump's not holding up his promises, which there's a couple things that, like we talked about, I wanted him to do, DACA and stuff. But then you have to think he's got a kid, he's got his wife, he's got his sons. They're probably being threatened every single day, and we don't know about it.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're going to kill your dad if he keeps doing this, because that's the same thing that happened to John F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
John F. Kennedy was a Democrat, but he was more of a conservative when it came to America. He didn't want to be involved with the Bay of Pigs. He didn't want to go to Vietnam. He wanted to bring people back from Vietnam.
Yeah.
And what happened was, because he didn't play along, they killed him. And that's my biggest fear, is that we actually do have a president who cares about the United States of America. I predicted in 2013 he would be president. You know, alpha whim. It wasn't like I'm a psychic or nothing.
Wow.
I just thought that would be so cool. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, let me know that lottery numbers if you're psychic.
I know, right? No. I was thinking to myself, because he went on Oprah and he was like, I would run for president if the country sucked that bad. And our country was sucking that bad when I saw what happened with Sandy Hook. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and then what happened to JFK Jr.? That plane just...
Hillary Clinton killed him.
Yeah. But those things, they come, you get a clearer knowledge of that. And then you are surrounded by people who understand what you're talking about, because 10 years ago it would have went right over my head. I had
do you ever read books, like, just to get away from what's going on? Like, do you ever just, I want you to read a book and you can tell me if you like it or not. Okay. I read this book and it made my mind spin. It's called Blood, Power, and Money. It's the book based on how Lyndon B. Johnson killed John F. Kennedy to keep us in Vietnam. And basically to start the globalist war, which was elites taking over the country and selling us out. And that's what's going on right now.
That might be a bit heavy. I like to read a little lighter.
Oh, no. You don't have to read the whole thing. Just take the clip notes. You know those little black books where you get like the first little, that was a good chapter, and I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm not saying you read every word, but you know.
No, but it's sharing like this, and it's bringing awareness to people who heard about it, and they, you know, I talked to people, and even before it happened to me, when I saw somebody's child was killed, and I was sitting there crying, and Dominic walks in and he said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Her child got killed." And he said, "Do you know her?" I said, "No." He said, "Mom," because he kind of got a little tougher skin with being a 911 dispatcher. He's the first line. And I said, but it broke my heart, because I couldn't imagine. Well, now I know. Now I know. And how many more have to die this way? How many more families have to be torn apart and separated? We can't Skype. We can't talk to each other. I wish I could drive. I would drive 20 hours every week to see my son. I would drive 100 hours just to hug him one more time. It wouldn't matter what I would have to do. We can. But all the media is focused on these poor sob stories, all in the family, and they have a paraplegic. Well, they all knew what they were getting into. You know, if I rob a bank, I have to think about what could happen if I get caught. So, you know, there's the risk. But people are trying to keep their mind away from the death of a child. So when they hear our stories, they say, "Oh my God, oh, that's so bad. Okay, what's for dinner?" And then they go on about their day, because their mind can't handle this. So with you spreading this and letting people know and sharing our stories and a more in-depth look, because this is, I could never be on Fox talking this long and sharing this much, you know. And I haven't even
My school was on the news, right? I was in 7th grade. No, I'm lying. I was in 9th grade. We had the Mexican kids were going to kill each other, the 2 gang members. So they bought us pizza, kept us in the little hallway, and they had our school, I would think it was 9 News in Denver. And we were all laughing and playing because we didn't understand what was going on. You know, we're like kids. We're high school kids just sitting there doing whatever. one of the people, and this is why I'm doing this, came and interviewed me and my buddy Stephen Mondragon, and we didn't have any idea what to say. You know what I mean? They're like, "What do you think about guns?" This was in 2004, or no,
Right.
2001. And I was like, I don't know, guns are cool, lock, load, and shoot. I mean, what are
Yeah.
you trying to get me to say?
Yeah, you have no
They
idea.
they want you to say what they write down. They don't want an opinion. They want you to say what they write down. I remember they handed me a piece of paper and gave me three choices to talk about. And I'm thinking, if I'm the victim, wouldn't I have my own opinion? And now you're seeing this with the Parkland shooting in Florida. And I
See?
never talked about that because that was the most and Jay Hopek, who was on earlier, one of my buddies from school, he was standing right next to me when we got handed this piece of paper because there was no shooting, nobody got hurt, nobody died, but we were thinking to ourselves, can you imagine if somebody had been killed and they're interviewing us three and then they're trying to make us like they did with Hoggs, who is a
Yeah.
fake, he's an actor,
Yeah.
and we're over there just reading
I
lines.
believe that. Yeah.
You don't need an earphone in your ear to know when you see bullshit. Excuse my language. That's the truth. It's
But
like
it's true. Well, and I heard of crisis actor, and I didn't know at first. I didn't know, and then they showed this girl. She said every school shooting, the same girl crying and falling apart. I'm like, whoa, something. And you know, you start watching first. You say that can't be true. But there's a lot of things going on that we have no idea and still don't have a clue. Still don't. And we
but you
got
know
so
one thing that we can do? You know one thing we can do? I believe, and this is just my way of looking at things, because I believe on the 100, I'm on platforms and I use different names. I have pages I don't even use my own name on. You know what I mean? Because I'm not stupid. But anyways, if we start little and we get people's stories out there, and I'm going to post to this for resistance and freedom and that and Donald Trump this and that and the other, people are going to wake up. And people are going to
oh
see that you
yeah,
don't need Fox News
you
anymore and
can see
MSNBC.
one little seed. That's why when I talk to 100 senators or their staff, one of them, if I reach one, I'm good. It's worth it. I can't sit at home and be quiet thinking, they ain't gonna listen anyway. I don't know. There are a lot of people who listen. There was a lady who apologized to me. She thought I was a bit harsh because she thought we should keep the good illegals and only send the criminals back. And I told her, I said, no, they're all criminals. They're all here illegally.
They're all criminals.
If that good illegal runs over your mother crossing the street, he's a bad illegal. You want to wait for that? You want to gamble with that? I don't. I just don't. But she apologized because her son was hit. It was a hit and run in Houston. Well, they caught the guy, and it was an illegal, no insurance, nothing, who had the audacity to call her son's insurance demanding payment. That's how bold they get because they keep getting away. So this lady now, all of a sudden, because it happened to her loved one, and thank God he was only bruised up. He didn't get killed or seriously hurt. Now she understood why I'm talking like I do. And I don't care. You can call me bitch. You can call me racist, Nazi. I really don't care. Because to me, that's kind of okay, I'm getting to you. Because otherwise, you wouldn't call me all these names. You would just say, listen to her.
I will give you some fruit for thought. I am not allowed to go to my family reunion because I'm a Christian, and my grandmother, who I thought I grew up Catholic, so this will show you how fake the Catholicism church is, right? They were like this. They're like, well, you can't be a Christian because you don't believe in God if you believe in Jesus. And I looked at them and I was like, what the hell? I thought we were on the same page. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm a Christian conservative Nazi / idiot because I voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, and you want me to bring Enza to Denver? Well, this is, or to Little Aguilar. Like, no, this is not going to happen.
No. You
Enza will know the truth.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's always, I'd ask somebody, I said, so when you call me names, do you really think that hurts me? After that, you think anything can hurt me after that? You haven't even, you couldn't even try. You could rip out my arms, my leg. It wouldn't, you can take everything I had. My hurt is already so deep. But now I got to turn it around. And I want to share this with you before I forget. While I'm going through all of this and learning these things, there are a lot of fake organizations out there that claim to help victims of illegal alien crime. And I stayed with one for a while until I found out it was a bunch of crap and being used, and my son is being used, and they had political aspirations I didn't want to be a part of. So there were a few others that lost their children, brothers, and two who lost their brothers. And we got together and we created our own organization. And it's called AVIAC. It's AVIAC. And we are on Twitter and we're on Facebook, aviac.us or AVIAC USA. And it's 7 people, 7 families that lost a loved one because of an illegal, and all different stories. And so we formed that organization last year in June. And we're still working out a little bumps because it's not that easy to do all that. But we already have
It's hard.
people
It's very
wanting
hard.
to speak. And we were in D.C. about 3 weeks ago with 11 sheriffs. And we had a press conference because the sheriffs experience what our tragedy is before it happens, and then after and during. That's where they come in, and how they want border security and enforcement within, and all these things, these points that been out there forever. And so 7 of us decided we want to have something that is run by victims. We know how a victim feels. Somebody that wants to make a political career out of an organization, they don't know our pain. They don't know how 1 minute to the next we can fall apart. We laugh 1 minute, we choke, and then 2 minutes later I'm in the bed crying my eyes out.
Well, you know what makes me mad? What makes me mad is when people have talked to only one mom. That's why I'm trying to talk to everybody, and they're like, and I was there, and I hugged them, and I know, and then I see real people like Tanya's awesome. I've seen her videos.
Oh, yes.
Where,
Yes.
I've seen her videos where she's like, she and me are the same in how we think. I don't want money. I don't want fame.
She never
Yeah.
sleeps.
Yeah. It's funny because we're a lot alike. She's like the female version of me, which is scary. We were doing a video earlier, and I was like, this is too for real. Like,
But
a couple people, I'm not gonna mention their names, but shame on them for using your stories to further their political conservative talk shows on the internet. We'll just leave it at that.
There are quite a few. We know who we're talking about, and many. I finally had enough at the RNC. That's when I said, you know what, you take your show on the road, but get out of my face, because you don't want me to go German on you. Because this might look like this kind, sweet little old lady. You don't want to make me really angry, But but we learn, and then we take that. But this group, and it's Don Rosenberg. He lost his son Drew. He's our president. We have Maureen Maloney. She's the vice president. She lost her son Matthew. We have Michelle Ruth, who lost her daughter Sarah. We have Marianne Mendoza, who lost Brandon. And we have Brian McCann, who lost his brother in Chicago. And then we have Maureen Lacour. She lost her brother. So we all have different stories, different ways our kids died, their brothers died. But if there are any victims out there, reach out to us. We want to hear your story. We want to be there. We don't have the money. I heard you talk about that today. We're working on things. We're going to have fundraiser. We're going to get to all that.
Well, and I want to make this clear, because someone emailed me and said, oh, you talk about you don't want money, but you're talking about money. No, I don't want the money. I would like to help people who are doing the work, where there was like a fund for somebody, or like, somebody just lost their kid and they need to pay for the funeral costs, or they need to, that stuff is expensive. You're a victim, and then on top of that, just like with the Americans who pay their taxes and have medical bills, when illegal criminals get them for free,
Yes, but you just brought
they're
something up. There's a family, the Stansberries. Their daughter was killed in Los Angeles. They have to fly and travel from, I think they're in Iowa, to Los Angeles for the trial. And they did a GoFundMe. They shouldn't have to do that.
no,
They shouldn't have
no.
to ask anybody. The government should help them get there and be in a hotel and have food and take care of them. But so many families go through that. They have expenses. I was lucky. Somebody mentioned to me right when it happened that California pays up to $5,000 for funeral expenses if your loved one became a victim of a criminal of a violent crime. So Dominic was covered with $5,000. The rest I paid. It was more than $5,000. But then you have the restitution. Well, if you deal with an American criminal, because I hear that a lot. Oh, he could have been killed by an American. Well, yeah, you're right, but he wasn't. So now where are we going with this bullshit? If you have an American criminal that hurt you or killed your child, you have a way to go after them. And no, money will not replace my child. But my son was half of my household. We shared bills. Well, that's done. So whatever I needed, I had to pay his credit card. I had to pay his debt back. I would have been able to go after them and, well, take their house, whatever they had to do. There's a system to help victims. Well, when it's an illegal that killed your loved one, you have nothing. The guy who killed Dominic was ordered to pay me $18,000. Let me see how much money I got. I'm fresh.
Yeah, right. It's not funny. I'm laughing because between
I got you. But
yeah, I'm not making fun of the situation. What I'm saying though is, can you let me be 110% real right now. These people who are making films, these people who are making their TV show on Facebook big and care about numbers, I'm talking about more than one person. Stop selling backpacks. Sell body armor. Sell stuff and give some of the money back to the people who helped you get your name. These families who don't have the money for funeral costs, imagine there's a place they can go and they can get $2,000-$3,000. I'm not saying hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I think it would be the moral just thing our country should be doing for these families.
Right. Well, I gotta step back though. Donald Trump created Voice, the office that through the government Voice, you can call and you can report a crime that happened to you by an illegal, and they will try to get you in contact with counseling and do what they can do. But that didn't happen till just last year. But
well, and it might not be happening because I know that program. It might not be happening next year. They're trying to cut that.
Yeah. And so there are families that are they lose house and everything because they want to make sure their loved one gets a nice burial or cremation. And then they have bills afterwards. Well, I stopped working. I retired that day. My son died. Okay, so I really had to bare bones because I just couldn't go to work anymore. And there are others who in need of help. So we help everybody else, but the ones who are our own that need it, and they are in that position, not of their own fault, but because of somebody here illegally, it still blows my mind, and it's not. It has to change, and if we have to hammer this every week and one by one, we wake people up. I'm not about to give up. I'm gonna quit when I join my son and I finally get to hug him and kiss him again and hear that laughter, and then he's gonna prank me in heaven. And I'm going to tape his little angel wings. I'm going to put some super glue on there. So he's going to be, not able to fly for a week or something like that. That's when I will stop. When I join him. But
Well, I'm gonna tell you what happened to. I'm gonna tell you what happened to me real quick. So I was like, Agnes and me have been friends for a while, and I just never put the story together. And I knew about it, but when I saw her Facebook video, I was like, wow, 2,000 views. What's she talking about? And I went and looked, and it clicked, ding, 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 because I had been following Tanya and all them in the past.
Yeah.
But I kind of got rid. I got rid of doing the YouTube channel and the Facebook thing when everybody was mad about we should be happy about Fidel Castro. I was like, what the hell's our country talking about? Yeah, I mean, that's when I started deleting all my stuff and I was going to give up.
Yeah.
We need to have people be a voice.
Yeah.
Right now you see 13 people. The other videos are getting 16, 1,700, 18, 2,000. The other videos before that from...
You know what? If it's only the people, and I can barely, I don't have my glasses on. So everybody that's on here, thank you so much. It's not how many people watch, because somebody will tell somebody else.
Yes, that's all we're going for.
And I will also help you to get more names of other families that might not be on Facebook, that might not know. I let them know what you're doing, and because they need to tell their story. They deserve to tell their story, because
here's what happens. I was one of those people watching all your guys' stuff during the campaigning. You talk for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
There's no heart behind it. There's no who was the person.
2.5 minutes. And when we spoke at the RNC the first night, we got 2.5 minutes, right? Which it was the biggest thing besides giving birth to my son. It was really the second biggest thing. I've never done anything like that. But
did you add me as a friend? Did you add me as a friend on Facebook?
I don't know.
Because I wanted to share your kid's picture on my Facebook and on the conservative page.
I have you on Facebook. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right,
but
cool.
at the RNC, when we spoke, we shared our tragic heartbreak. CNN faded away. They didn't show it.
Yeah.
And people started trying to call me and say, well, we were watching you on CNN and you were gone. Well, they didn't. So we will always find that resistance. We will always find those who try to silence us, who try to, come on, it's been 6 years, get over it. This is not a normal death. This is murder. Every one of them is murder. I don't.
Well, do you know what my big plan is? After we do all these videos, I'm going to start calling the videos the truth. Right. Agnes was one, you're two. I'm going to try to bring everybody together and do a big video to where you guys can all talk and not be cut off, and then I'm going to submit it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get, because I was reading an article where this actually happened. I want these people who don't send their kids to fight a war, who don't send their kids to go drive out and get killed by an illegal immigrant, or sorry, that's wrong. That's wrong.
That's right.
Illegal criminal is what I go with. You know, Chuck Schumer and these guys. Yeah. I want them to wake up and see that they're standing on 8-inch hills for 8 hours talking about little Julio Escobar.
Yeah.
When their kids aren't being killed. All these Democrats, they hide behind big giant walls, but yet they don't want to build one for Americans, and it's disgusting.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I tweet a lot. I'm on there like crazy at times. I asked Pelosi.
Getting banned. No, they keep banning me.
I'm surprised I haven't been banned yet. I'm very surprised because I call them all out. Kamala Harris and Pelosi and all that.
I hate her,
and I love it how they live in a gated community and they have armed bodyguards and all that, and they're very protected. But yet they're trying to tell us that we need to bring in more people and we need to accept all these illegals as family members. And they try to make it sound so nice, even to the point where Pelosi was talking about her grandson's wish was he could be brown. Oh my!
That's Lord. The dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
No,
Isn't it?
dumbest thing she said was actually that we should mow the grass at the border. So they
Oh yeah, I posted that. Yeah, that's stupid. That's so stupid.
so but the thing is, we're going to be continue to be called racists and Nazis and
You know,
everyone.
she ate too much of that cotton candy in the attic, and she was doing all those Tide Pods. That's why she
And
was
Tide
a
Pods
little.
did it. Yeah.
But I got something better than Tide Pods. You know, they're
What's
these nice little dishwasher soaps you can buy. They're called oh crap, I forgot the name of it. I was going to use it as a punchline. The was it the concentrate? You know, the one that cleans your dishwasher. I heard it does wonders.
Yes, they
Finish.
should.
I'm just kidding. The finished products. just finish yourself off, baby.
They try to silence us any which way, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Twitter. The main thing is we can't give up. I speak for me. I have nothing to lose. I already did. I lost the most important part of my life. My child. I lost my best friend. I'm blessed that I have an incredible man that stood by me through this. He never left my side.
What's his name again? What's his name again? Anthony?
His name is Anthony. He is.
Yo, Tony, good job, buddy. Good job,
Yeah.
Tony. No, I'm just kidding. You go, Tony. No. Go, Tony.
No, he stuck by me. He never left my side from the moment he met Dominic. They were friends. Dominic loved this man, and he told me, "You go marry him." I said, "Yeah, right. I'm just dating him. I ain't gonna marry him." 9 years later, we will get married. But so I have so much to be grateful for. I'm blessed in so many ways. I'm out of California. I was dying. It was killing me because I drove by that spot every day. The school he went to, the house we shared, the triggers were too much. So I'm now living in Arkansas in a small community that embraced me with loving arms. I can talk like them now. I'll say iced tea. I want some iced tea, y'all.
That's funny. And they're like, wait a minute, I thought you were from Germany.
Yeah, well, I put that accent in there as well, and then they know them. Because they always say, you're not from around here. No, I'm not. But I'm in this beautiful home that we built, that love built, and with Anthony's parents and family around, and wonderful new friends. My old friends, they're still there. They never gone away. So through all of this, I'm blessed. I'm so blessed.
If you wanted to give a message, what would be your message to someone who's not awake, who hasn't taken the red pill?
Woke, who's not a woke or whatever.
Yeah, who's not woke?
Not
yeah.
woke. My message is, that's a good one. My message is wake up. Please listen, look around, read, be a little bit more critical. Don't buy everything you hear on the news like I used to. Just because it's CNN or Fox don't mean it's all true. Do your own research and make sure that the next victim of an illegal will not be your loved one, and you sit back and you didn't do anything. Now you know. If you hear my voice, now you know. You have no excuse. That doesn't mean you have to go out and wave signs and demonstrate and talk on TV or anything. But do your research and go vote. Make your voice known. That's the only thing we have. Make sure the right people are in the positions to stop what happened to me and all these other families that it happens to you. So wake up. We have to. And my final message is, what Dominic taught me is live every day without regrets. Live it without, that doesn't mean you have to sing Kumbaya around a fire pit with everybody. But surround yourself with.
I love it. You're a realist. You're like me. You're a realist. Yeah. You're like, what the hell are these people doing with these ukuleles? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't like you. I don't want you around my fire pit. No, but enjoy every moment. Enjoy the smaller things. I again now see a beautiful flower, or I smell a fresh cut pine tree, and I enjoy that. We get too busy, we get too caught up, we think it couldn't happen to us. And when your kid's starting to annoy you, you wish at my place, in my spot, I wish he would annoy me, not cleaning up his room. And so we really have to be in the moment a little bit more, and be woke. I'm hip now. I'll say that right.
Right.
Be woke.
Be woke.
Going around and get involved in not just your household, but your community, because that's where it starts. You don't have to send a check to Africa. You can start home, and then when you have money left later and everybody's well, then send money somewhere else. But the little things that we can do is what matters, not the big things. And it's the little ones that count. And I leave you with this. Dominic was a big guy, and he used to struggle about his weight. And we all do. We women are extremely crazy about that. We want to
Actually, a lot of men do too.
men too. Okay, I wasn't going to call you out, but and about weight and looks and things. And since Dominic's death, not one person, not one, ever mentioned that he was heavy, overweight, what size he was, what car he drove, what clothes he wore. The one thing everybody talks about is what an amazing friend he was, what an amazing confidant he was, and how he made them feel. And if we leave with that, and if I die tomorrow and somebody says that about me, that I made them feel better and I made them feel good and I was a good friend, I'm good. And that's really what matters. Whatever happens, we have no control, but we have control over us, how we react, how we act, and how we treat others. And I want you guys to all hug your kids, your grandkids. And if the diapers are full, take a good whiff, because I wish I could have that.
Trust me, I have. I'm just kidding.
Well, maybe I don't want all of that, but yeah, we gotta appreciate what we got instead of always looking for what we want, what we should have. We have so much right now that many of us, I would give up everything. I would live under a bridge, homeless, if I could have my son back one day. I'm not even asking for a week. I'm asking for one day. Yeah. So
I'm gonna give you a Bible verse, because I know you got a Bible. Okay.
Yes.
Go to James 4:7 and then James 4:10.
Okay.
And I want you to read Proverbs 2. And I want you to know that God's in heaven and he's in control of who's in politics, and he's in control of what happens on this earth. And when you're done with that, I want you to read Psalm 77. And I know I threw a bunch of verses at you, but you can go back on this video and look how I cried to you, O Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'll fix it to you. And when something happened to me with a relative, Psalm 77 was a good psalm. So I want to thank you for doing this video.
Thank you.
We struggled in the beginning to get it going.
Hey,
Facebook.
That's all right.
But I hope
they can't stop us.
Right. I just want people to know that you don't have to send your money to the March of Dimes, who I used to play drums for, that keep everything but 10 cents. It's just nuts. Yeah. You can get your voice out there. So thank you for doing the video. I know it's late where you're at. You're an hour ahead of me. You're like,
hey, that's all right. Who's sleeping? It's overrated. It's all
While you're retired, I got to wake up in the morning and go to work.
I can sleep in if I want. From my heart, I really appreciate you so much, and I'm sending you the biggest dom hugs. Please let every one of these moms and dads and brothers, sisters, and wives and husbands, I'm going to get you a lot more names. They need to do this, and this is such an amazing thing you're doing. It really, truly.
Well, because you get more than just the story. You get the truth, and the truth is they're not just for PR. They were people, they had lives, and their lives were taken away from them too early by criminals.
Yeah. And it just, there's sadly too many of us. But my dream is that one day I won't hear of any more victims. There won't be any more victims. The phone lines at voice office in DC are dead. There are cobwebs on them. There are no more victims. That's what I pray for, and that would be a nice wish come
Well,
true, but we'll see.
if you post stuff on my Facebook, add me, tag me. I'll look into it too. Because
Got-
the more I do research on this every single day, it's like, man, they really dropped the ball after Trump got elected. They just let it go.
Yeah. Oh, and there's one more thing I want to say, and then we're really gonna stop because people probably nodding off already. I want to send big dumb hugs and my love and prayers to each and every angel family out there. And even if we're not in the same state, or we don't talk on the phone, or we don't email all the time or text or whatever, I want them to know that united we are strong, and we always have each other's back, no matter what. And well, yeah, that's my new family. All these wonderful people that I know their pain, I know their sorrow, and I know their darkest hours. And no matter how
Do
they
me a favor
smile,
real quick. Do me a favor.
sure.
Say your name the way that you say it.
Gretchen von der Nein, I'm just messing with you.
I won't remember that. I just don't.
No,
I tear my own.
Gretchen von der Hausen. No, I'm just clowning. No, it's Sabine Durden.
Sabina. See, I knew I was right. I didn't want to say. I have a friend that's name's close to that. It's like Sabine. Sabine.
Well,
No, okay,
people
cool.
call me Sabine because I don't know why. Now I know because in Louisiana there is a parish called the Sabine Parish, and the Sabine Bank and the Sabine River, and it's all spelled Sabine. Well, my name is German, and we leave the E on it. It just sounds like an A. So I would say it's Sabrina without the R. Sabina.
Gotcha.
Or you call
Because
me
I was like,
or whatever.
one of these days you can look at the beginning of there was a glare, and I was like, I know the name, but I was because I was like, I know I'm bad.
You did good. It's been butchered, believe me. To butcher
Okay.
everything
No.
is freezing up. No, you did wonderful, and this was well worth the time spending with you. And I appreciate your family for giving you that time and not putting you out in the doghouse. But for
I'll be there
your
shortly.
wife,
I'm just kidding. I'm
and
just
your
kidding.
wife,
No.
but your wife to take care of the babies while you do this. It takes a team to do all that. So I appreciate her. Please give her my love and a big dumb
Well,
hug.
she's to be honest with you, she's been victimized in a different way. And me doing this, yeah, I feel gratified that one day we'll get justice for everybody that's been
We will.
bent
We have
over
to
backwards
do
by
that.
the court systems.
Yeah.
And that's
See,
my plan.
and we have to believe in that and keep fighting for that. So with that, I wish you a good night. And
You too. You have a great night.
dumb hugs, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
You have a good night.
Thanks.
Later.
Bye. Bye.